for country's biggest night, the TNN Music City News Country Awards. Live Monday, June 8th at 9 Eastern on TNN, the Nashville Network.
The Monster Mile in Dover, Delaware. It's called the Monster because it eats dreams. Those that attempt to ride its spine do so at their own peril. The turns are like canyon walls. The straights bank steeper than many tracks' turns. Concentrate everywhere. Rest nowhere. Few leave here unscathed in equipment or spirit. 500 miles anywhere else is a Sunday school picnic compared to 500 on the Monster. It's a rush like no other to bring the Monster down, but exhausting to fight it and lose. From the toughest track on the circuit, TNN Motorsports proudly presents live coverage of the Budweiser 500. At long last, maybe we have some good news from Dover, Downpour, Delaware. Hello, everyone. I'm Steve Evans. If I look like a drowned rat, well, I am. Weather has been the big story. Yesterday, we lost our live coverage of the Busch Grand National race to the weather. You'll see that tomorrow, weather permitting, at 10 a.m. Eastern Time live here on TNN. This morning, a downpour. Then it stopped. NASCAR dried the track. Now it's blinking again, but they're still saying they will have the Budweiser 500 as close to on schedule as possible and meet the pole sitter and his Ford, Brett Bodine. Friday afternoon, you grabbed the old Monster by the tail and shook it.
Well, I'll tell you, we got very fortunate. You know, we got very little practice time. We had a little problem in practice, and we just went ahead and got a good lap in. Look at this guy here.
Brother Jeff.
Didn't I teach you anything? It's raining. Come on out of the rain. Get inside here. Come on.
We might all do that in a minute. It is a tough racetrack, that's for sure.
It really is, you know, and, you know, with the addition of the new sealer, Goodyear bringing out a new tire, some of the old record books kind of had to go by the wayside. You had to kind of come up with a new combination. I think that's why it played into our hand. We've never brought the Ford Thunderbird here to Dover before. We kind of came here with an open mind. I think it really worked for us in qualifying.
You've become a real Ford lover from the sound of it.
I really have. You know, ever since Kenny Bernstein switched the Quaker State team over to Fords, we've had nothing but great things happen to us. Our qualifying has been outstanding. You know, the only team to qualify in the top 10 at every single race this year. Finally got our first pole here at Dover. Now we got to start working on that race setup. I believe the second half of the season is when you're going to really see this team get the race set up down pat, the second trip to all these tracks.
Okay, let's hope the cover comes off this car in just a few seconds. Right now, let's go upstairs to our racecaster, Michael Joy.
Thank you, Steve, and hello, everyone. Well, 30 minutes ago, the track was dry. Pit road was only damp, and we were set to go racing. Yesterday, we had rain coming straight at us from the east, from the ocean. Now there's a storm system coming at us from the west, but there are breaks in the clouds, and everyone is confident of being able to get this race in today. You see the humidity, it's right up near 100%. You can just about cut the water in the air with a knife, even when the rain is not falling. But that's not been the big story this week. They have a new sealer on this surface, and it is fairly slick. Also, Goodyear's chosen this race to introduce the radial tire to Dover. And we've had some cars find their way into the wall with regularity, both in the Winston Cup and Busch Grand National divisions. For more on this story, go to my broadcast colleagues, Neil Bonnet and Buddy Baker. Neil?
Thank you, Mike. You know, before they ever sealed this racetrack, this thing was always one of the toughest on equipment and the drivers, more so on equipment than anything. But since they put the sealer down and brought these radials, we have had nothing but cars bouncing off these walls in this very limited amount of practice that we had. We've had some of the best race car drivers in the world tearing their cars up in just practice sessions. Alan Kulwicki, earlier in the week, lost 2 race cars. He spun the car off, coming off turn 4 one time, slid all the way down the front straightaway just like he was on ice. You couldn't even tell the car was trying to slow down. He lost 1 off turn 2. The problem they've got is with this new sealer right here. You can see how slick it is, not the dampness, but the slickness of the track itself. There's a bottom groove that the drivers like to run in. It's almost raceable. But up above there, nobody's been brave enough or crazy enough to try to run on that part of the track. Somebody's going to have to move up there and see if they can run on that top. Let's go down to Buddy Baker for more on this story.
Thanks, Neil. In the background here, you see one of the cars that Alan Kulwicki destroyed on Friday. He got 2 of them. I'm with Paul Andrews, crew chief. What in the world happened, Paul?
Wasn't a good day for us, buddy. You know, the first car bottomed out in the corner. He spun and lost it. Second car, he's coming out of turn 4. The whole tires broke loose and spun and lost that one. Just not a good day.
Big question. How is the third car?
Third car's real good. It's our car we raced at Atlanta. We tested with it at Charlotte. We're real confident about it. It's, you know, we had to do a few things, little driver comfort things, and put some brake ducts on it. But other than that, you know, the car is a real good car.
All right, thank you. And now back to Glenn.
Well, thank you, buddy. I was standing by at Alan Kulwicki's 3rd race car of the week here. This is the car that they run at Atlanta. Alan's not here right now like anybody else with any sense. He's out of this weather. I'm standing out here in the middle of it, so that tells you about my mentality. Alan told me earlier today that the biggest concern that they have right now is that they only got about 4 or 5 laps practice with this car yesterday morning before the rain began. That gives him only a total of about 11 laps this week. He still hasn't gotten a feel for the race car. He still doesn't know what this car is going to do, and he's a little bit worried about that. You can understand that. So quick as Alan comes along, we'll try to get back and get a word with him. Mike Joy?
Thank you, Glenn. You see he's lined up in 37th position. He's got a long way to go to get to the front. But then again, he's going to have all afternoon to get there. 500 miles of racing here at Dover coming right up. TNN Motorsports exclusive live coverage of the Budweiser 500 from Dover, Delaware is brought to you by Budweiser, the king of beers. With that clean, crisp, cold taste, nothing beats a Bud. By Haviland Formula 3 Motor Oil. Add more life to your car. By Goodyear, the unanimous choice of every NASCAR Winston Cup team. And by Autolite Spark Plugs, guaranteed for 2 years no matter how far you go. They're getting set to put drivers in these cars, fire them off, and get them around the track to get some heat into the surface. So we'll be right back to Dover Downs.
This season, Bill Elliott's doing something he's never done before. He's driving the 670 horsepower Budweiser Thunderbird. But only after Junior says it's okay.
Last year, Davey Allison added something new to his car. It wasn't wider tires or a slicker shape. It was the same Haviland Formula 3 motor oil you can buy, straight off the shelf, to add more life to your car with complete protection against heat stress, starting friction, and engine dirt. Now, we're not saying it was Haviland Formula 3 that gave Davey the energy to lead more major NASCAR races than anyone last year and win this year's Daytona 500. But we're not saying it wasn't.
All of these championship-winning drivers have one thing in common: Goodyear Racing Eagles. The race-winning technology that's found in the Goodyear Racing Eagles can also be found in the world's best-selling line of high-performance street tires, Goodyear Eagle Street Radials. The champions know, and it's why we say the best tires in the world have Goodyear written all over them.
Here we go again, guys. Wow, I feel good. Yeah, this guy really gets around. He's got the auto lights. American Orient Paul, we're guaranteed. I feel good. Yeah, 2 years, no matter how far he goes. That's why we've been everywhere. Vegas. I feel good. Yeah. Daytona. LA. Wherever we're going. The Superman. Yeah. And we're not even tired. Wow.
Welcome back to Dover, Delaware, and our live coverage of the Budweiser 500. You're looking at the car on the inside of the second row, the car under that cover anyway, the bright yellow number 30 Pennzoil Pontiac of Michael Waltrip. Now, Michael qualified on the pole last year, came up just a little bit short this time. Now, it's an all Waltrip affair in this second row. Starting outside the second row is Darrell Waltrip, the number 17 Chevrolet. They are both having, well, not the best of seasons and hope for a turnaround here. Right now, let's catch up on all the Winston Cup news with Mike Joey. He has this week's Haviland Update.
400 laps, 600 miles. The Coke 600 at Charlotte. Lap 131. Up into the wall goes Gary Ballou off Greg Sachs' car, and everybody else runs for cover. Or in this case, the infield grass. Some made it through, some didn't. Was that kind of racing all day as 3 top GM cars tried to put an end to Ford's winning streak. Kyle Petty's Pontiac, Ernie Irvin's Chevrolet, and the Chevy of Dale Earnhardt. 50 laps to go, and the lead cars come in for tires. Here's Irvin running in second place, and Kyle Petty leading. But the fastest crew on this day on pit lane would be Kirk Shelmerdine's Flying Aces for Dale Earnhardt. They put Earnhardt out into the lead and in position to hold off Ernie Irvin for General Motors' first victory of the season, snapping Ford's 13 race winning streak. Davey Allison still has a commanding point lead, but look at Elliott, Gant, Kulwicki, and Earnhardt all within 33 points behind him. 6 through 10, it's Labonte, Shepard, Jeff Bodine, Trickle, and Martin.
Well, after Earnhardt's great performance at Charlotte, everyone here is wondering, can he again flog the Fords? Didn't qualify all that well. Here you see his car on the grid in the 24th spot. But he put together 2 qualifying laps identical to the thousandths of a second, so he has tremendous consistency and I think a real good shot. Right now, let's go to not Willard, but Glenn, the weatherman.
Well, thanks, Steve. This is something I've always wanted to do. The normal weatherman has left right now. He's gone to put on his Bermuda shorts and sunshades. If you look right here, there's a little arrow. It's a little hard for you to see it, but right there is where we are. All the rain is east of us right now. There's just a little patch right here. That's all that's over the racetrack. You can see in behind here, it's all clear. Once this little patch right here gets above us, we're in good shape. So they're still holding out there. We're going to get this thing started within the next 30 minutes or so.
And the Optimist Club meeting will happen here directly. Thanks, Glenn. We'll put you in for Mark McEwen's job. Well, it is a little damp here at Dover Downs, but that has not dampened the enthusiasm of these fans. So many of them are out in their motorhomes and cars, awaiting word or awaiting the sound of engines being fired. Look, there's a packed crowd here in this grandstand as what has long been the largest sporting event of the state of Delaware. They just keep adding seats to this place as you have a look down the front straightaway at turn number 4 and up here as well, turn number 2. New grandstands coming off turn 2 in the back straightaway. Those are filled up. And the enclosed grandstand on the backstretch they use for the horse races inside this oval and also for the stock cars as well. It's going to be a packed crowd in here just as soon as they get the command to fire engines. Steve?
Well, thank you, Mike Joy. This is Michael Waltrip starting inside the second row. It's kind of an emotional roller coaster for all of us. We're ready to broadcast. You're ready to race. The track was dry. Now they've quit drying it. It's tough.
Well, I know it's definitely unpredictable, and it is tough for the drivers and the crews alike. You want to get going. You know, if I could just run one lap, you know, just get started, then whatever happened would happen. You'd be all right. But I want to get in my car and go. You know, the Pennzoil Pontiac has ran super this weekend. Looking forward to racing, and here I sit watching it rain. So.
What do you think? You're looking at this guy's eye. It's stopped right now. We're going to do this thing?
I think so. The way Dick Beatty and the NASCAR officials talked, there was a window in the rainfall. They thought we'd have 3 or 4 hours to run this race, and the trucks have started drying the track again. I'm optimistic that we'll at least get to start and get going and kind of see how we're all running. And then if you're not running good, you go home and spend the night and worry about coming back tomorrow and making it better maybe. But you know, I think we'll get this thing started. I'm looking forward to racing. We've had some rough races so far this year, but this thing this weekend is right. We're ready to race.
I hope you're right. Mike?
Well, he's done well here, Steve. He's a former pole sitter here, and like everybody, the anticipation of getting ready to run. What's it like, buddy, when you get, you know, I mean, everybody wants to run. Let's get this race going. But for a driver especially, you build up all your hopes and your thoughts and your adrenaline, and then you sit there?
Well, it's like Michael said. He just wants to start. He don't care how long it goes. He's ready to go. You kind of get yourself all built up, and the most important thing is to get started today. They'll get her done.
So we'll stand by here at Dover. Track drying efforts continue, and you saw the weather on the radar, and if you believe in magic, as we do, we're going to go racing here at Delaware today. We'll be right back.
When Darrell Waltrip needs a part, he needs the right part, and he needs it fast. And when you need parts, see the parts team at Western Auto. We've got top name brands and thousands of parts in stock. Right, guys?
Right, DW.
And we've got the right price, backed by our low price guarantee, right?
Right, DW. And while you're at Western Auto, pick up Valvoline motor oil at a low Western Auto price. People who know, use Valvoline.
Western Auto, the official auto parts and service store of NASCAR. Right, guys?
Right, DW.
It is from Kodak. It delivers the highest resolution. Microfine grain. Superior image structure. For ultra-sharp detail. It is called Ektar. Ektar film by Kodak. The genius is in the details. Ektar film now comes in a new cartonless package in 25, 100, and 1,000 speeds.
Cereal, bananas, peaches, melons, fruit salad, cottage cheese, bacon, scrambled eggs, sausage, potatoes, blueberry muffins, biscuits, country milk gravy, Ritz.
It says here the appropriate traditional gift for a 10th anniversary is 10. But at Shoney's Breakfast Bar 10th anniversary celebration, we prefer stainless.
Where there's smoke, there's fire. The surefire performance of AC Delco. We don't just race, we win.
Next Sunday, live on TNN Motorsports. When a seasoned pro like Mike Eddy meets the challenge of a newcomer like John Benson Jr., you get a battle of intense proportion. While the fight was clean, it still ended in the spin cycle. Mike Eddy headed to the showers and a young lion roared to victory lane. That was Milwaukee. Now on to Ontario. It's the 25th anniversary of the ASA AC Delco Challenge Series. Players limited 200 next Sunday, 1 Eastern, live on TNN Motorsports.
We're back live at Dover Downs, Delaware, and we've got a little time here while they finish drying the track and we get ready to go racing. The fans are ready, the drivers are ready, and if you're ready, dial in, and we'll deal with some of your questions about Winston Cup racing and be able to ask some to the drivers as they wait for the start of this event. Our 800 number, it is toll-free for questions about this event. 800-451-7331. This is a free call. Operators are standing by, and we'll answer some of your questions about the sport and about this race. That number will be in operation throughout the day. So give us a call, and the phone will be answered in Nashville. They'll fax those questions to us, and we'll find out what's on your mind about Winston Cup racing, and maybe find out from, say, Ernie Irvan about his great run at Charlotte last week. Let's do that right now. Steve Evans?
Yeah, starting inside that fifth row is Ernie Irvan. Down here with Sterling Mullen and Tony Glover. You guys are sure laughing a lot. You having that much fun?
Yeah, we're just telling old war stories, you know, about racing, and different things happen going to the races and stuff like that, but not much else to do here.
No, there's not. Even though you came up a car length or so short at Charlotte last weekend, you had to feel good about the General Motors product.
I really do. You know, our car's been running awful good a lot of places, and you know, we got the pole at Talladega, run 5th in the race, and the car's been performing well. We just had some bad luck, so we think that all the General Motors team have made a lot of headway with the heads and things like that, and our car's running well, and I'm really looking forward to this race going.
Well, the best thing I see right now is NASCAR is again drying the track off.
Yeah, you know, it hadn't been raining here for like the last 20 minutes, so it's going to take them an hour or so to dry the track. Maybe we'll go without a shower and get some racing in.
Let's talk to Sterling Martin if we can. Sterling, hanging out with these General Motors guys, you could get in trouble for this.
Well, we hope not. We're surrounded by Fords anyways. You hope we'll get the race in, maybe the break, and we'll get it in.
What are the Ford racers, engineers, and people saying about the Chevrolet performance at Charlotte?
Well, there really hadn't been much talk about it. You know, the Fords run good all year, and I think just, you know, a bunch of Fords got put out and had trouble. So they did run good in Winston and the 600. So, you know, maybe we'll get back on the Ford streak here.
Okay, best of luck to you today. All right, Glenn Jarrett, what do you got?
Well, I'm standing by with the guy that won this race 1 year ago today, and unfortunately for him, he hasn't had another victory in Winston Cup since then. Ken Schrader probably glad to get back to Dover.
I really enjoyed Dover. We've run first, second, and third the last 3 years in this race, so I like this place, and I'm getting ready to go out there and race. I'm ready.
Well, we all have heard about the problems that you're having with your neck. You have a herniated disc, I believe. A place like Dover where it's extremely physically wearing on the driver, is this a tougher place for you to contend with?
I don't think so. I won't really notice it today, or I haven't been noticing the race car. I can probably tell you tomorrow if it was a little rougher racetrack or not, but it wears on you the next day, but it isn't too bad inside the car.
Well, we understand that since the problem has worsened, you have kind of scheduled the next several Tuesdays for operations if necessary.
Well, it's I'm just real fortunate with Rick Hendrick and Kodiak. They haven't put pressure on us just to keep in the car, and if it gets real bad, we're just going to get it cut on because I'm going to drive that 25 car for a number of more years, and I want to be right when I'm driving it, so I don't want to take any chances with this thing.
Well, best of luck to you today. Steve Evans?
Well, Glenn, when you say Ford Racing, you have to say Jack Roush in the same sentence. The win streak finally came to an end in Winston Cup at Charlotte, but you don't look very discouraged about that.
I didn't hear what you said. I'm sorry.
I said the Ford win streak finally came to an end at Charlotte last weekend.
The Ford win streak came to an end, but we've had quite a long run. There's an awful lot of depth with the Fords. You know, you've got so many teams now that are running competitively, good car programs, good drivers, good on pit road, and good engines. I really credit SVO and Lee Morris and Michael Kranifus for the job they've done getting this hardware together. But we're going to win a bunch more races this year, the Fords are, and I think that the doldrums that we've been in for the last 5 or 6 years with Fords relative to GM things, we're not going back there for a while.
And you're in the front row opposite the pole sitter.
Yeah, this is really a crapshoot here. You know, this Dover mile, 500 laps around here is probably too long. We tore up a bunch of cars on Friday qualifying. Mark lost his Busch car. And we thought we had to measure the track. There's some sealer on it that's a concern, and we understood what to do with it. And, boy, everything's in the air now.
Have a good day.
Thank you.
Mike Joy?
Well, thank you, Steve. The rain that has fallen here yesterday and this morning has taken some of that rubber off the track, and there's Darrell Waltrip pondering it out. And we'll be back to Dover Downs with more coverage of the Budweiser 500 right after these messages.
The NASCAR racing circuit. It's no place for the timid. That's why Craftsman tools were chosen, the official tools of NASCAR. Craftsman, made in America, guaranteed forever.
Jim Ward has found a fountain of youth, and he keeps it in his garage. It's Armor All protectant. It prevents his tires from fading and aging. There is a fountain of youth, and we own the patent, Armor All.
Gillette presents Sensor, the system, the technology that will change the way you shave forever. Sensor, twin blades set on springs to read your face and respond. Independent suspension to sense and adjust to every curve of your face. No other razor comes close. Gillette Sensor, for the best shave a man can get.
Freedom. It's the spirit which moves the Cutlass Supreme, a car intelligently engineered to free your eyes, your hands, your senses. Introducing the new Oldsmobile Cutlass Supreme. The look may change, but the spirit remains the same. Oldsmobile, the power of intelligent engineering.
And isn't it true that this auto part did, in fact, come from the defendant's car?
Objection! Prosecution is leading the witness.
Overruled. You may answer the question.
This part most definitely came from that car.
And how can you be sure?
I work for Napa Auto Parts. It's my job to be sure.
No further questions, Your Honor.
Napa people are parts experts, so they can answer any question, whatever the case may be.
The Nashville Network's coverage of the Budweiser 500 is being brought to you by Napa, because there are no unimportant parts. Track drying efforts continue here. And you see the trucks dragging tires, getting some heat in the racetrack. Let's go right down trackside to Steve Evans.
Well, Mike, with the banking the way it is here on the Monster Mile, drainage is definitely not a problem. All the water runs right down the banking into this area between the inside wall and the racetrack. I pity the driver early on who maybe spins and comes down here because he's going to think he's on the mile of mud at the Swamp Buggy races down in Naples, Florida. We're already starting to see some dried patches on the racetrack. And as you said, dragging those tires, just old truck tires, tractor tires, they've been doing it the same way for a lot of years because nothing has been found to be any more effective. Mike?
That answers Bill's question from New Mexico about dragging tires around the racetrack. Our 800 number in operation. Kyle and Ricky from Connecticut want to know how they score the Hard Charger Award. 5 points to the driver that leads each lap, 4 for the guy who's second, 3 for third, 2 for fourth, and 1 for fifth. Somebody's real busy with the computer all race long scoring that one, but that's how they do it. You know that there's our 800 number if you have questions about the sport or about this race. We'll have that number open all day long, and our pit reporters will be asking questions of some of the drivers that you call in. 800-451-7331. Operators are there to take your questions now. Let's go to Glenn Jarrett.
Okay, the mischievous little girl you're looking at now is the 4.5-year-old daughter of Darrell Waltrip. That's Jessica. Darrell, I've never seen a guy so uptight, tense, and nervous.
Oh, well, you know, it's the rain hadn't dampened our spirits all that much. Give me that hat, you little turkey. We're just having a little fun here with one of the members of the family. No, we're ready to go, and you know, the rain is it's discouraging. We work so hard and get everything ready to go, but I think we're gonna get this race in. I think it's gonna get a little late start here, but I believe we'll get it in.
Well, looking back on this year thus far, it's been a little bit disappointing for you.
Boy, it's been real disappointing. We've had a great car on a number of occasions, and the guys are doing a great job, but things just haven't worked out for us yet. We're in good shape today. We start fourth, and you know, this could be the day we turn it all around. We just need a little luck, something good to happen, and then then I think we'll be on our way.
Well, it's a good thing that you know the car owner pretty well, right?
It is, because if the owner and the driver didn't have the kind of relationship they had, the driver might be in trouble.
Well, if you don't know, Darrell Waltrip owns the car he drives. Steve Evans?
Dick Trickle is down here having fun with some of the fans. Show him Trickle's autograph. It's a real work of art on the back of the sweatshirt. It's hard to write on those things. I know, I've tried. But, you know, as the winningest short track driver in stock car history, this ain't all that bad a day for you. You've seen worse in Milwaukee and everywhere else.
Well, I had somebody ask me this morning, was going to quit raining or not, and I said it usually does.
Sometime or another. And I'll tell you, this track is drying pretty quick. You may have to get your helmet soon.
Yeah, I think there's a window. You know, Dick Beatty with NASCAR, they use the radar, and they said there's a window coming up, and we should be able to get a couple 300 laps in here and hopefully get 500 for everybody. But the Snickers Ford was running great in practice yesterday morning, so I'm looking forward to it.
And you relax a little bit with the fans. That's nice.
Well, we just happened to see the Arctic Cat on their shirts, and of course that's Minnesota area, the Arctic Cat snowmobile. So sure enough, they're from Minnesota, and they know some friends of mine. I just started chatting, and as soon as you get idle like this, you know, you have a few fans come up, want a few autographs, and that's perfect timing because we're not in a rush.
And some people say race car drivers are becoming inaccessible. I don't think so. Guys?
Thanks, Steve. Dick Trickle, short track legend, making his mark in Winston Cup. And you see up over turn 3, that's to the southwest of the racetrack, and the sky is lightening out there just a bit. Not lightning as in thunder but it is getting a little lighter and a little bit clearer. So we're hopeful things will go along here. More viewer mail. Tommy, and I'm sorry I can't read where Tommy's from on this, on the fax the way it came through, but he asked about Dale Earnhardt. And last week at Charlotte, there was a question among some of the fans as to whether or not Dale was going too fast down pit road. You saw in the Haviland update that he beat everybody off pit road, and was he maybe exceeding the speed limit down it? Neil, you were there.
You know, NASCAR monitors pit road. That's always their call. You know, they call people before, and then it's not a questionable call. I guess they say they have a radar gun. I've never seen it, but when they make that call, that's it, one way or the other.
We talked to the team about that, and they said, no, Dale came right down pit road at the mandated speed and held that speed until he was just 1 or 2 pits away, and then locked the wheels up to stop the car instead of coming in gradually, and made up a bit of time that way. Nonetheless, he got the win at the Coke 600. Comes in here as the circuit's most recent winner. You see a lot of heat getting down to the track right now as those tires drag around the speedway, build a little heat into the asphalt. We'll be back to Dover Downs right after this word.
All day.
Will I do till the real thing comes along?
All night.
No doubt about it, been loving all.
All music. CMT. Country Music Television. All right.
the 34 Classic Street Rod. It's hot, available, very affordable, fun to drive, easy to assemble. Call 1-800-328-5671 for more information on this special offering of the 34 Classic Street Rod and other timeless classics from FiberFab International. Call now, 1-800-328-5671.
The legendary Chieftains do an Irish jig with Chet Atkins, Ricky Skaggs, and Nancy Griffin.
What makes the love grow?
Traveling through the jungles on the Wabash Cannonball. All right, boys, play now.
The American Music Shop, Saturday night at 10 Eastern on TNN.
Welcome back to Dover, Delaware. Getting a bit of heat in this racetrack, and the umbrellas are pretty well folded up now for at least the time being. So we'll check with NASCAR and see how far we are from getting this event underway. Let's go back down to pit road, Steve Evans.
Well, Mike, with virtually every car down here on pit road, you'll find a little generator like this one. And what they're trying to do, in that it's been quite a while since these engines were warmed up, they're trying to keep the oil in the crankcase, the oil throughout the automobile lubricants warm. So when they start it, there's not excess wear. They're already up to temperature. Now, something else you'll find at just about all of these cars is right here. And this is a portable little air tank, because tire pressures are constantly changing as these cars sit, possibly leaking a little bit through the valve stems. There's no heat to keep them back up to pressure. So you're going to find a lot of this equipment every time you have this kind of a situation. Glenn Jarrett?
Well, thanks, Steve. This place is overrun with celebrities down here, and I'm standing by with the most well-known football coach in America, Joe Gibbs, who is also the owner of the number 18 Interstate Battery Chevrolet that my brother Dale drives. Joe, your impressions of the NASCAR season thus far?
Well, we certainly, it's very hard to win. I found that out, and there's 32 losers normally every week. There's not a 50-50 chance here, but I've enjoyed it. We've had our moments too. When we stay out of, when we stayed out of mechanical problems and out of wrecks, Dale's kept us up there in the top 10 most of the time. So I'm excited about the second half too, because we had all new cars, all the courses pretty much first go around for us. I think when we start hitting them the second time too, I think we're going to be ahead of the game.
Well, as successful as you've been in other endeavors, has this been more difficult than you actually thought it would be coming in?
It's a different role, the owner here. You know, my job is to pick the people. I pick Dale and Jimmy, and then Jimmy hired everybody else. And to kind of make sure that, our sponsorships, we get everything it takes to go fast. We got Interstate there, Shell, Food Line, and so we had I think a great group of guys. That was my job, to get all those guys put together and keep them happy. And I feel good about that. And I think we got good people, and I think you win with good people. And I think that's what will happen to us down the road here. It's going to be Dale and Jimmy getting the job done with the guys on the crew, and I think that's what will eventually make us a winner.
Well, thanks, Coach, and best of luck to you. I'm one guy that certainly hopes that things turn around for you. Steve Evans.
Well, thank you, Glenn. I'm in the Junior Johnson Budweiser Ford pit, the crew lounging around, all anxious to get going. And here is the driver himself, Bill Elliott. And Bill, you were the last driver to win from the pole here at Dover. In fact, few have done that. You did it in the fall race in 1990.
Well, this racetrack's been good to me, and it's been bad to me both. But I enjoy running here. It's one of the, I guess I'm some of the few people that like running this place. The only bad thing about what's going on today is it just puts everybody behind and going to Sears Point. Regardless of what happens, I got to be here tomorrow to run the Busch race, so I'm going to be here regardless.
Years ago, we were the first people, TNN, to really start televising this race on an American Sports Cavalcade show, and I remember those days well. You and Ernie had a little old box truck, not much sponsorship, running pretty lean and mean. It kind of started here, your early success.
It really did. I ran here in the early days, and, this racetrack changes a lot. You coming here the first time, we've run the Goodyear radials here, and it takes a different setup. With the limited amount of practice we've had, it's going to be a pretty tough race for some people. And I think the track will change quite a bit during the day.
And it's going to take some driver discretion out there.
Well, it always does here, but probably more so now because you've got one groove worked in on the bottom from what we've run here practicing, but there's no real rubber in a second groove to run side by side. And I'm starting on the outside, and for the rest of us starting on the outside, it's going to be a tough road for a little while.
Let's hope it's a safe one.
Thank you.
Mike?
That's Bill Elliott. Here's a little track drying innovation in Ted Musgrave's pit. They are using an air blower to dry out their pit space so that Musgrave can be as late as possible getting on the brakes. There's a blower in Davey Allison's pit as well, so they can get stopped and safely serviced. Looks like it was working.
Absolutely.
Earlier this weekend, the sealer that was put down on this racetrack presented its own difficulties for the drivers, and you see here, this is not traffic school with the cone. Explain what's going on here.
What's happening here is NASCAR found that the upper groove, nobody was using it. Everybody was hugging the white line through the corner and staying as low as possible. And they put cones out there and made them practice up and make the groove wider, at least 2 grooves wide, because this racetrack is extremely slick.
Let's go to Glenn Jarrett.
Well, sorry we had to interrupt you. What were you doing in there, Dale?
Watching TNN on TV right there. See the TV? Hey, we sit up there watching TV, waiting for the rain to, dry up.
How's the show so far?
It's good. Y'all doing a great job. Neil and Buddy and all of you guys doing pretty good. Hey, that other guy, what's his name? Yates guy or
Steve Evans?
Evans, yeah. I get them Brocks and Evans is messed up there.
Well, this is a guy that a lot of people have chased. I had to chase him down here. Glad to get that first win of 1992.
Man, that felt good. All the race fans and everybody's been really excited about our team. It was good to win again. Last time I won, it was in Wilkesboro, and then Ford's won since then. So to break their string and get our first win in '92, it was great. And my 400th start, Glenn, you believe that? We was running at Hickory together several years ago?
Yeah.
So pretty good, pretty neat.
All right, hold on, Dale. Mike Joy wants to ask me a question that I'll ask you, Mike.
Well, we got 2 things here from viewer mail, and one was if Dale's confident of the track conditions. That from Sarah in North Carolina. And also ask him about the deal last week coming in for that last pit stop, about how they got in and out so quickly and got up and down pit road so quickly but didn't break the speed limit.
Well, let me ask him the first question first so that he won't walk off from me before he answers that one. First question is, we had a viewer write in and want to know if you feel confident about the track conditions given the slippery surface we've seen.
Well, it's been a little bit tough in practice, but I think everybody's gotten their cars adjusted to it. We hoped to got a little practice after that race yesterday, but that didn't happen with the weather. But everybody's going to be on a pretty much caution mode here to start with. Hopefully, everybody will. I will be. And I know Harry Gant and a couple of guys, Alan Kulwicki especially, has talked about it. And, we get the racetrack worked in. I think we'll work our way up to it, and I think we're in good shape for it. Our car has gotten better the whole time we've been here, so I think we'll be okay.
All right, the second question, let me position myself in front of the door here so he can't get by me. No, we want to know, you've been very vocal, very outspoken about the fact that your pit crew won that race for you last week, but yet there's been a lot of talk saying that you were too fast down pit road. Just how did you guys do that last stop so quickly?
We didn't get a ticket. Well, really, if you look at the, the replay of it, Kyle and Ernie had to dodge Morgan getting in the pit, so that really took some time up. I came in really good and clean and had a real clean pit stop. The guys did a super job, even old as they are. They did a good job, and then I got off the pit road good, and I really ran hard around the bottom of 1 and 2, and I right against the berm, filling the berm as I was going, sort of like running on dirt against the berm, and when I got around far enough, I just let it up on the track, and we was going good. So we probably picked up a half second getting in, and I know a good second getting out. So we beat them there and beat them a little bit in the pits.
Well, how about that, guys? Dirt track experience helped him win the World 600. Steve Evans?
I wanted to have a conversation with Harry Gant for all his fans out there, but the cover was still on the 33 car. I was looking everywhere except one place. How badly does Harry Gant want to get going? Rusty Wallace chatting with him. The only place I didn't look for you was in the car. Boy, you are ready.
I'm getting out of the rain. It's the best place I see we can sit and rest.
Just remember to take the cover off. Visibility is limited with it on.
Yeah, I know it's good to see out too good. Right now it works real good though. Got plenty of water here. Got the radio up there.
And Rusty Wallace, he's something else, isn't he?
Well, he's a heck of a driver. He's always so cool, calm, and collective. I saw him sitting in that car, and I figured I'd go up and get a couple of pointers from him and see what he's up to. Hey, so what are you doing, Harris? Oh, I'm just sitting here taking in a good Sunday. He don't know what he's doing. He's just having a hell of a time in there.
After what we saw here with his double last fall, he's not a bad guy to follow around a few laps here.
Yeah, I was talking to him about that wreck he had in practice today. So how you do that? And he's explaining how he hit that wall, how he almost had it saved. But the old track's going to be pretty treacherous out today when they get it dried out. They're going to run us 25 laps under caution. It should be better.
Go get him. Okay, Mike Joy.
Well, there's high groove Harry Gant. We'll see if that high groove works here today. Track drying efforts continue here at Dover Downs. We're getting to see a little bit of the lighter side of things. We'll be back with more after these messages.
Splitfire earned a United States patent. Splitfire doesn't look like any other spark plug. And the patented Splitfire doesn't work like any other spark plug.
5 extra horsepower by merely installing these plugs. Quicker in the quarter mile. A 4.8% gain in mileage.
There's nothing like a Splitfire. You'll get more power and more mileage, or your money back. Get the guaranteed Splitfire advantage at leading automotive stores from coast to coast.
This bench gets a professional finish with Krylon spray paint. No runs, no drips, no air. Dries to the touch in minutes. The other brand's still tacky. Wow! What a game!
Good game, Mr. Euchre.
He's a lot tougher than he looks. For a fast, smooth, professional finish, get Krylon.
John, how you doing? You know, AutoZone customers are pretty special. I mean, they take great pains in doing a job just right. So they know exactly what they want. That's why we carry so many parts. And also why we price them so low every day of the week. Because you gotta admire a guy who'll tackle a job like putting in a starter, a water pump, a rack and pinion. And you gotta give a guy like that exactly what he wants. The right parts and the right price.
If you don't like the looks of your car, shoot it with Son of a Gun from STP. Shoot the dash, seats, tires, and roof. Son of a Gun protected. Man, what a difference.
Next Sunday, live on TNN Motorsport. When a seasoned pro like Mike Eddy meets the challenge of a newcomer like John Benson Jr., you get a battle of intense proportion. While the fight was clean, it still ended in the spin cycle. Mike Eddy headed to the showers and a young lion roared to victory lane. That was Milwaukee. Now on to Ontario. It's the 25th anniversary of the ASA AC Delco Challenge Series. Players limited 200 next Sunday, 1 Eastern, live on TNN Motorsports.
We're back live at Dover Downs, Delaware. Mike Choi with Neil Bonnet and Buddy Baker topside. Steve Evans and Glenn Jarrett are down on pit road. They're dragging tires to try to dry out this surface. They sealed this track last October, trying to preserve the asphalt, just like you would your driveway, trying to keep the surface in good shape. The difference is you don't go up and down your driveway sideways at 1 to 1.5 G's and abrade that surface. So they've got to take care of it. That's why they put down the sealer. Some of the questions coming through on our 800 number. Bob from Michigan, and we spent some time last night in the restaurant with the Red Eye Racers from Michigan. Half their group's here and the rest they're home watching us. Why don't they run the race cars clockwise?
Well, I think you'd hit your head pretty hard if you run the wrong way. We try to keep the driver as far away from the wall as we possibly can.
If they would have been here earlier this week, Mike, they would have seen some of that. We did run some clockwise.
Yeah.
They were spinning in every direction, but it's like Buddy said, it's really a safety feature to keep the driver on the opposite side of the wall as much as possible.
I think really the answer goes back to horse track racing, and there is a horse track inside the mile oval here at Dover Downs. Horse races run counterclockwise on an oval, and the early auto races in this country were mostly run at fairgrounds on horse tracks. So they ran them the same way, and we still do today. What else have we got here? Why don't the cars have fuel injectors instead of carburetors?
Well, they have rules. First off, there's a lot of things. We'd like to have blowers on them, but they would, you know, NASCAR keeps the ruling pretty simple, and they try to keep the cars as stock as possible.
And on these V8 engines, that means carburetors, at least for the time being. Let's check down below with Glenn Jarrett.
Buddy Baker, I'm standing by with Kyle Petty, and he heard your answer to that question. What was that, Kyle?
I said Baker and me and everybody else has run clockwise a few times out here, anywhere just about.
Well, you've had an awfully strong car, particularly at Charlotte. You guys look like things have really come together for you now.
Yeah, Charlotte was really good. You know, we went over there and we took a couple of different cars and both cars worked. And we dubbed one of them our nighttime car and one of them our daytime car. And, you know, we were good in the Winston, good in the 600. We got exceptional motors. John Wilson's got really good motors right now. And, you know, Robbins brought a lot to the ball game that we didn't have before. And, you know, it just makes it a whole lot easier to go out and run good.
Have you got the rain car here?
I hope this is a rain car. It was our night car at Charlotte. And it's pretty cloudy right now, so if it stays this way, I think this car will be good.
Okay, thanks, Kyle, and good luck. Steve Evans?
Well, I'll tell you what, this has been about the most amusing 45 minutes of Winston Cup television, maybe ever. We've been having a lot of fun down here, Jeff, and you started it off coming into my opening shot.
Well, I thought I taught Brett better than that. Staying out in the rain, you know. Hi, Kathy, Matt, and Barry back home. I gotta say hi to them. I love them. we're going to get this thing in. They just said, gentlemen, get in your cars. So I got to go here in a little bit.
All right, well, you got to be proud of your brother. If you can't have the pole, you might as well have another Bodine there.
Well, we're starting good 5th. That's the best for the motorcraft car this year. You know, our young brother, Todd, he's on a pole for the Busch Grand National race. So both brothers outdid their older brother this weekend. But we're going to chase Brett today. The track's looking good right now. The rain stopped. I think we'll get the race in and hope it's a good one.
I hear the crowd cheering. They must be seeing drivers get in the car. I'll let you go.
I'm ready. See ya.
Okay, Mike.
I think we're all ready, Steve. Let's deal with a couple more questions from the viewer 800 number. If the race starts under yellow, Frank from Illinois wants to know who gets the 5 bonus points. The pole sitter, because he will lead the first lap. What do they do with old race tires? They recap them and use them for short track dirt racing. Or they do what you do and send them to the landfill. How do they decide what frequency the in-car radios use? Mike from Maine wants to know, and why don't they step on one another? Racing Radios acts as a clearinghouse for frequencies among the race teams, and of course they all file with the FCC for their radio channels, so there's not interference. Well, we got a few more here, and we'll get to them. Michelle from Alabama wants to know, how do you meet the drivers? Well, you watch shows like this. There's a good one. No, we'll get with that in a second. Glenn?
Okay, guys, they have called the drivers to the cars right now. I'm walking along with Richard Petty. Richard, you've been coming to Dover for a long, long time, and you've had a lot of success here. Looking forward to today's race?
Well, we was. You know, I mean, if we can get rid of this rain, then I'm really looking forward to this race, yeah.
Well, we had a viewer from Colorado, Larry, called in and asked, will there be a Petty Enterprises car next year, and who's going to drive it?
That's a good question. There will be a Petty Enterprises car. Who drives it won't be Richard Petty. I don't know who else will be.
Okay, best of luck to you today.
Well, we got applications here to fill in. No, Michelle, for your question, how do you meet the drivers? Many of the car sponsors have events, autograph sessions, and there are a lot of charity events when the racers come to your area where you can meet the drivers at public functions such as that. Occasionally you'll catch them at a restaurant where you're out to dinner, that sort of thing, but I think that's probably the best way.
Yeah, the autograph sessions, usually in each town they're racing in, there'll be things in each paper telling they're going to make certain personal appearances, and that's the best way, just follow up with the newspaper ads.
Well, they're getting into the cars, and we're getting set to go racing here at Dover Downs. The long-awaited Budweiser 500 is about to get underway, and we'll bring it to you after this.
It's in his head, his heart, in every muscle. The energy to go further. Texaco System 3 gasolines put this kind of energy to work for you on the road. System 3 reduces deposits and cleans your engine in all octane grades to help put the heart and muscle back into older cars and keep new cars running like him.
Unique glass fiber paper stops more dirt than any other filter for the best protection ever. Fram Extra Guard. American or import, it's an extra lease on life.
Racing. I can't explain it. You're kind of in a limbo zone. Time's different, speed's different, everything works different. It sounds totally cosmic. It's out there somewhere.
Kyle Petty and Mellow Yellow. There's nothing mellow about him.
Well, you see the driver strapping in. There is Brett Bodine, the pole sitter, getting ready to race here at Dover Downs. Steve Evans is with him.
Well, my first interview at the top of the show when we thought we were going racing was the pole center, Mr. Bodine, and I think I'll end my portion here with him as well. All right, you had a nice little rest there, a lot of fun. You got to be ready.
Well, we certainly are, Steve. You know, it's just one of those deals, you know, a little rain delay. No big deal, just hopefully the track will stay good condition for everybody and, you know, we'll get this thing started off in the right way.
By the way, thanks for calling me Steve. I appreciate it. Glenn?
Thanks, Steve, I believe it is, yeah. The guy you're looking at here is Davey Allison, the only man this year who has a chance to win that Winston Million. Missed it last week at Charlotte, but still a tremendous year thus far, Davey.
Well, things have been going pretty good, Glenn, but, you know, hold on just a second. We got a little problem here.
Okay, they're having some problems with their communications back with the pits. We'll wait for just a moment, see if we can get those cleared up. Why don't we go back topside for just a moment, see if we can get Davey's problems cleared away, then we'll be back.
Mike, that's nothing unusual for the guys having trouble with the radios. I don't know how many times when they're all sitting on pit road like that, all of us so close together, and That's just something they probably correct in a hurry, but that's not uncommon for that to happen on pit road.
Plus, you got everybody keying the microphone at once, and then you've got a little bit of engine interference when they fire off. But
He's pointing to his opening there. He needs that tube plugged up where he gets fresh air through that helmet. There's his problem.
There it is. Put that little vacuum in there and let's go.
He'd rather have the air than the radio right now, I believe.
Glenn, or Steve, rather?
Well, Richard Childress, the owner of the Dale Earnhardt car, everybody down here laughing and smiling. I think it's because it looks like we're going to race finally.
Yeah, we've been watching the radar most of the morning, and it looks real good. It looks like all the green's gone. I believe we're going to have a good day for racing now.
Tell you what, if I was promoting any kind of outdoor sporting event, I think I'd pay NASCAR to just come in attendance with that radar. It's unbelievable the luck they have.
Yeah, we've had some good luck last year, and we've been real lucky this year as far as having any rain. So, we can put up with a little bit like this.
Feeling confident?
Yeah, the car ran real well in the last 2 practices, so we feel real good about where we're at today.
Those 2 qualifying laps, identical to the thousands. That doesn't happen all that often.
No, Dale is probably the most consistent driver out there as far as lap for lap, and he really turned in 2 good ones that day. They weren't fast, but they were consistent.
Indeed they were. Glenn Jarrett, you wanted to ask another question?
Yeah, thanks, Steve. Davey he's waiting on the bracket that fits here in his helmet. You can see right here the little adapter piece is not there, and the guy comes along just as I'm saying it. Davey, one final question. Hard lick you took at Charlotte. This is a tough place on you. Are you physically ready for this place today?
Glenn, actually, I feel better today than I did before the start of the race last Sunday at Charlotte. And I kind of compare those 2 races, the Coca-Cola 600 and this race here at Dover, very similar. They're both real physical on the driver, and I made it to the end of that one. Just hope we can today, too.
Okay, have a good day out there.
Davey Allison
Mike Joy
here as a rookie in 1987. NASCAR informs us in 5 minutes we'll be firing engines, so we'll get to a little more housekeeping work here. Like pausing for these messages. We'll be right back.
What makes a mountain man a mountain man? Let's find out. Must a mountain man be a big burly guy with an axe? A man of steel? Must a mountain man even be a man? Actually, the only requirement is the right beer. Smooth Bush beer or easy drinking Bush Light. So, head for the mountains and learn what makes the typical mountain man anything but.
You get into fitness, you're likely to get an athlete's foot, and it could get pretty tough. The irritating itch, the painful cracking, the burning. That's when you want a medicine that acts tough. Tough-actin Tenactin. Tenactin cures even the tough cases of athlete's foot fungus. And Tenactin's clinically proven. No wonder it's the antifungal most recommended by pharmacists.
Got a tough case of athlete's foot? Get the medicine that acts tough. Tough-actin Tenactin.
In trying to make an artistic statement, one should be careful not to let one's personal aroma do the talking. In order not to offend the critics, I recommend Right Guard Sport Stick. It provides maximum protection and the freshest scents, a sublime palette of odoriferous emanations. After all, a true artiste should be remembered for his inspiration, not his perspiration. Right Guard Sport Stick. Anything less would be uncivilized.
Here we go again, guys. Wow, I feel good. Yeah, this guy really gets around. He's got the auto lights. American or import, we're guaranteed. I feel good. Yeah, 2 years, no matter how far he goes. That's why we've been everywhere. Vegas. I feel good. Yeah. Daytona. LA. Wherever we're going. The Super yeah. And we're not even tired.
They fired the engines for TNN's live coverage of the Budweiser 500 from Dover, Delaware. Brought to you by Autolite Spark Plug. Guaranteed for 2 years, no matter how far you go. Engines are running. We're getting set to go racing at last.
Well, it's about time, Mike. I know all these guys have been ready. And when I was down in the pits a while ago looking around, the guys, you see them working on the front of the cars, trying to get them warmed up. It's cool enough today that they've got these cars plugged up a little bit in the front end area. So depending on the track, the thing should be real quick today.
Ricky Rudd Chevrolet, Derek Copes, Kyle Petty, Rusty Wallace. As they get set to roll off here, having warmed up. Davey Allison well back. Steve from Arizona called in, wanted to know how much the banking is here at Dover, and there you see it. 24 degrees in the corners, much like Rockingham, and down the straightaway, 9 degrees. This whole track, much like Bristol, it's kind of like a giant cereal bowl.
That's exactly right. There's no runoff place. Even if you spin down the straightaway, you're going to crash. There's no place to go.
Neil, there's really nowhere where you can just kind of sit and relax in the car, is there?
No, you know, you run so hard through the corners. The corner speed is real quick here. And when you come off the straightaway, like Buddy's talking about, on the straightaway, you've got to work the car down through. There's enough banking. The cars want to turn the left down off the banking, and there's just no place you can relax. If you take just a little bit of a pause in there, you're going to get to slide down that track and test that inside wall.
Let's have a look at where your favorite driver qualified for today's Budweiser 500. Brett Bodine and Mark Martin have those two Fords on the pole. Brett's third career pole position. In row 2, Mike Waltrip, who finished 5th here in September, and Darrell's best starting position all year. Jeff Bodine won here in 1986. Ken Schrader won this event last year. Morgan Shepherd will start 7th. He finished 2nd here in 1988. Bill Elliott's won 4 races this year. Ernie Irvan goes off 9th, 2nd last week at Charlotte, and Sterling Marlin looking for his first win. Derek Cope won this race 2 years ago, and now Jimmy Hensley in the Cale Yarborough car. 13th will be Ricky Rudd, a 2-time winner here at Dover, and 89 Winston Cup champ Rusty Wallace. Harry Gant, a 3-time winner at Dover, and Kyle Petty, who finished 2nd here some years ago. The King, 7 victories at Dover, tied with Bobby Allison for the all-time lead there, and Terry Labonte. Dave Marcus, 10 years ago, he finished 2nd here, and Dick Trickle, who was 3rd 2 years ago at this race. Davey Allison, he's got a win at Dover, and Rick Mast making his 4th start here. Hut Strickland driving for Bobby Allison, and Dale Earnhardt, who's never started this far back here, he's 24. Chad Little in the Harry Melling Ford, and Ted Musgrave with a couple of top 10s this year already. Greg Sachs, former Daytona winner, Dale Jarrett. Bobby Hamilton, defending Rookie of the Year, and Wally Dallenbach in his first full season of NASCAR racing. Jimmy Horton from just up the road in New Jersey makes his 6th Dover start, and Jimmy Means. Mike Potter has the only Buick in the race. Jerry Neal is out of Auburn, New York. Then Andy Belmont, freshman driver from Langhorne, Pennsylvania, and Jerry Hill. Then Alan Kulwicki, who did not post a qualifying time after crashing twice in practice. Graham Taylor shares the 19th row. James Hilton finished 3rd in the first race here in 1969, and D.K. Ulrich will start Bobby Gerhardt's car from the scratch position. Jerry from Texas called in, wanted to know what make of car Richard Petty has won the most in. Of course, he's in a Pontiac, won his 200th race in a Pontiac, and 139 of those 200 victories in a Plymouth.
Mike, I don't think I've ever sensed among the drivers, you can kind of pick it up too, talking to them before the race, the caution that they're approaching this race with. This track has always been one where you really had to pay attention, but I think we saw so many cars torn up in practice with just breaking away and getting out of control. That kind of scares the drivers a little bit. But then when they get on the track, they just don't have the feel that the car's under them. And I think I've never seen the guys when they were this concerned about starting a race.
Neil, you're right. I've never heard Earnhardt say, I'm going to take it easy at any racetrack.
Good point. Grandstand filling in as we get ready to go racing.
Well, I tell you, that's a shot of the winners here at this racetrack. The fans have stuck this thing out for 2 solid days. We've had people sitting in these grandstands in downpours, and they've stayed for the race, and now it looks like we're going to be able to get the thing started for them.
From pit road, Glenn Jarrett.
Well, Mike, you mentioned that D.K. Ulrich is starting shotgun on the field back there, and I saw him before the race. It's been a long time since D.K.'s been in a car. I was kidding him about it a little bit, saying, well, look, a nightmare, an old bad dream has come back to haunt us. He laughed. He said, yeah, I'm going to start it, but we're going to fall out real early. I said, well, how do you know that already? He said, because I've gained so much weight, my stomach's so big, the belts are too tight, and cut my circulation off.
Did you interview DK or Dick Brooks? DK starting the car for Bobby Gerhardt, who apparently did not practice, and that's one of the rules. You have to practice to be able to start the event. Also, by starting the event, I believe that'll qualify DK to run in the Winston Open next year, should he choose to. So
I don't think he wants to do that. He's just doing a guy a favor.
Okay. Getting ready to go racing here. The 25 laps they expect to run under caution here to get the track fully dry will count, and they will give them a green-yellow this time by, we're told. Look at the field as they go down the back straightaway. That new open grandstand and the enclosed grandstand. That's the front stretch for the horse track. That's why that grandstand's enclosed. The one over here on the front stretch for the car track is not.
Well, they use the tires to dry the track, but nothing will do it like these race cars, even at this speed. all that big exhaust system, 4-inch pipes, got 2 4-inch pipes up under them, and all that heat right on the ground. These things will do twice the drying as the others.
Now look at the tachometer on Mark Martin's car, 3,700 RPM. The pace car is running 35 miles an hour. I would guess he's in what, second or third gear?
Probably second, when you say, buddy?
Yeah, he's in second.
Second gear. And they do that at that speed to show them what speed they'll need to come down pit road at. There is the combined green and yellow from Doyle Ford on the flag stand. So we are now counting laps, and the pace car will pick up speed to 85 miles an hour. They will stay double file to get some heat in this surface and also get a little bit of wear up into that upper groove.
If they run 85 miles an hour, the Elmo Langley's probably going to be one of the toughest drivers on the circuit. That pace car, that's pretty quick around there, as wet as it is.
He's my pick to win today, by the way.
Elmo?
Yeah.
Well, he may lead the most laps.
That's what I'm saying. Lead the most laps. He's got, you know, the leader that goes to the inside guy. Look who's leading the 6th car on the outside.
Wonder if he'll get the 5 bonus points. We'll be back to Dover Downs. We're under a green-yellow condition. Laps counting. First one coming by, and we'll be right back.
Take all these things you bought to show me that you care. Or maybe you can trade them in with love somewhere.
She's on the hip side of country. Kelly Willis stars on the Texas Connection. Saturday on TNN.
It's here. The 34 Classic Cabriolet. 2 years in the making from Classic Motor Carriages, the world's largest manufacturer of replica assemblies. This rod is hot, easy to build. Innovations of the 90s without the high price. Call 1-800-CLASSIC for more information on this special offering of the 34 Classic Cabriolet and other timeless classics from Classic Motor Carriages. Call now, 1-800-CLASSIC.
This is where America gets together. Every weekend throughout America, there is great NASCAR racing.
I wouldn't be anywhere else.
We're back live at the Budweiser 500 at Dover Downs. 3 laps are complete. Brett Bodine has led each one of them. The Gillette Halfway Challenge is coming up in today's race. The driver winning at the, or leading at the halfway lap, gets $10,000. Wonder if Elmo is eligible for that. A fan at home will have a chance to win a Chevrolet Lumina Z34 as well as instant prizes from Gillette. If you mailed in an entry and your entry is selected, you'll be called at home and can name the driver who's leading at halfway. You'll win the car. You must be 18 or over to enter. Now, entries are already in for this week's contest. You can mail in an entry for the Sears Point race next weekend. We'll show you that address a few more times during the day as we come up on the halfway point. And hopefully somebody will get a new Chevrolet today.
They've got just 4 laps done already, and you can see how dry the track is. So this thing is really going to get the track in good shape in a hurry.
There's Mark Martin alongside Brett Bodine. Now, since we're in a green-yellow condition, even though Martin's car is just that little bit ahead of Brett Bodine, Brett is being scored as the leader by NASCAR because they're still running in the order they qualify. Now, drivers may make pit stops under this condition. However, if they do so, they fall to the tail end of the field. There's a look at the front row, Bodine and Mark Martin. And just back, let me correct myself on Darrell Waltrip. I said 4th here was his best starting spot all year. A little bit of rain-induced brain fade. He was on the pole at Martinsville, of course. So he's in the Busch Clash, and he does have a pole win already this season. Steve?
All right, we're in Darrell Waltrip's fence for crew chief Jeff Hammond. Jeff, this 25-lap green-yellow, NASCAR had to do this.
Yeah, we had all the rubber washed off the track, and this track's been real treacherous all week. So we felt like in the best interest of being able to put on a good race, a safety-conscious situation. We need to go back and do this, and this has really helped the competition, help us out. We've got to put on a better show, a lot safer conditions.
How deep into this race do you think Darrell, for example, could go high and stick?
Well, you know, like right now, this riding around will help us get that work in a little bit better. But to be realistic with you, you're probably going to take about 20 or 30 good hard laps under green. The race speed probably get that upper groove into the start to come in. So you're going to see a lot of guys being real careful trying to get down low in a hurry when they do go green.
Have a great day.
Thank you.
Glenn Jarrett?
Well, I'm in Harry Gant's pit. This is Andy Petrie, well-known son of Joe Petrie. Andy's the crew chief for Harry Gant. You guys had to pull a little double duty this week, too. You crashed your car in practice.
Yeah, we hadn't had real good luck up here this week, but, you
You know, hopefully it's going to turn around. This backup car's working pretty good in practice. And we made a few changes since we practiced, so it's going to be a little bit of an unknown, but we're looking forward to it.
Andy, will this 25-lap period here give Harry any kind of feel for the car at all?
Probably not, but really what you got to be concerned about right now is to take care of the motor and take care of everything so you don't burn it up. This is kind of an odd speed to run for these cars. You know, they either want to go wide open or not at all. You know, this is not a real good speed for them, so you got to be extra careful not to burn a piston or foul a plug here.
You guys have been awfully consistent this year, running up front, up high in the point standings. Haven't gotten that win yet. Can you do it today?
Well, we're looking forward to keeping up our consistency. You know, that's the main thing. If we can keep it up, we'll be right there at the end of the year, and hopefully we can get on another run like we did last year. If we can be a little further up the points, maybe we can do a little better.
Okay, back to Mike Joy.
Now look at Harry Gannon. We notice with interest. Look at Dale Earnhardt running way up high under this green-yellow condition, trying to work in a top groove. We're under green-yellow here at Dover. They're running 85 miles an hour behind the pace car. These laps are counting. 8 are completed. TNN's live coverage of the Budweiser 500 from Dover, Delaware will continue right after this.
Splitfire earned a United States patent. Splitfire doesn't look like any other spark plug. And the patented Splitfire doesn't work like any other spark plug.
5 extra horsepower by merely installing these plugs. Quicker in the quarter mile. A 4.8% gain in mileage.
There's nothing like a Splitfire. You'll get more power and more mileage, or your money back. Get the guaranteed Splitfire advantage at leading automotive stores from coast to coast.
In America, your car doesn't just get you from here to there. It's a part of your life. To give your car complete protection, Texaco has developed Haviland Formula 3 motor oil. With not 1, but 3 kinds of protection against heat stress, starting friction, and engine dirt. Haviland Formula 3. Add more life to your car.
All right, I'll trade you an Allison for a Wallace.
I'll give you a Strickland for a Marlin.
I need an Earnhardt.
You got it.
Who's got the Busch Grand National drivers?
What do you give for him?
I got Waltrip's crew. I need his car.
Throw in a Gant?
How about Rudd?
Who's got Labate?
Ernie Irvin, deal?
Deal.
There's one team missing.
Okay, boys. It's time to trade.
Here's Morgan Shepherd and the
Collect ProSet racing cards. ProSet's official Winston Cup racing cards, now with all the top drivers.
Presenting the Yamaha Blast Into Summer Sale. For a limited time, you'll get rock-bottom prices and red-hot deals on Yamaha VXR and Superjet. Low financing for qualified buyers. No money down or no payment for 90 days. The Yamaha VXR and Superjet have the greatest technology to ever hit the water. So call now for the Yamaha dealer nearest you, because the best deals of the season are for a limited time only.
It's country music's biggest event. The prestigious, fan-voted TNN Music City News Country Awards.
I thank you very much. This means a lot.
Join hosts Tanya Tucker and Alan Jackson live from the Grand Ole Opry for country's biggest night. The TNN Music City News Country Awards. Live Monday, June 8th at 9 Eastern on TNN, the Nashville Network.
At the Budweiser 500, 12 laps are complete. In 3 laps, they'll be looking at the green flag. So this track is drying much faster than anticipated. And we'll get a full green on this field in about 3 laps. Let's check with Steve Evans.
Well, this handsome fellow is Tim Brewer, crew chief for Bill Elliott. And Tim, there's already some smart race car driving going on. Even under the green-yellow, a lot of guys getting up and high against the wall trying to wear in this racetrack.
Well, I really couldn't hear you, Steve, but, you know, NASCAR just called in and said they're going to start this thing at 15 laps instead of the 25. Bill, he's pretty much raring to go at 10, so as soon as they get this thing dried off, we'll get on with it.
All right. Well, we learned something from the crew chiefs. Not far to a green. Glenn Jarrett?
Well, thanks, Steve. This is Eddie Dickerson, crew chief for Rusty Wallace. And has Rusty said anything yet?
No, but I just told him I think we're getting ready to race in the next lap by. NASCAR is saying right now they're going to start on the 15th lap. That was lap 14, so we may be getting a green flag next time by.
Well, Eddie, thus far this year, you guys have had a little bit of a disappointing season. You got to feel like you're about ready to come out of the gate now.
I'll tell you what, the car's running real good here. All the guys at the shop David Evans and his motor guys have built a wonderful motor, and the whole crew's done a good job. We got a good car today. We can win the race.
Well, guys, they're already down here on pit road. Let's get this thing started.
Glenn, they've slowed the field down to near the 35-mile-an-hour pit road speed limit, getting set for a start here.
They were monitoring all the drivers. NASCAR monitors them just like we do, and all the drivers were getting antsy. Earnhardt and Darrell, a bunch of guys saying, let's go. They want to get this thing started.
Yeah, they're ready to go, and the racetrack's in fine shape. The pit road's not in the greatest shape in the world, but the racetrack's ready to go.
A little bit of standing water there. You see it coming out of turn 4 at the entrance to pit road, and also at the exit as the water that drains off the front straightaway comes down. Looks like a take 1 on the field this time. Light is still on the safety car. They won't go this time. What NASCAR wanted to do is bring them down to the pit road speed, 35 miles an hour, for this last lap of caution. So they can get that setting on their tacks and know what the speed limit is. Now look down here in the lower right of the screen. A lot of standing water coming out of pit road. These are slick, non-treaded tires. The driver's going to have to be awful careful getting down there, getting back up onto the racetrack.
Mike, they will have to be very careful, but as you know, there is a speed limit, and they won't be coming in like we used to, so that's not as big a problem as it looks like.
Looking back in the field, Alan Kulwicki, who lost 2 cars here in practice to the wall, had to have a crew drive most all night to bring another car back. He's back in 37th spot. And here's Dale Earnhardt, 24th, the furthest back he's ever started at this racetrack after not being among the top 20 in first day qualifying. Several drivers have made pit stops that started toward the back of the field. James Hilton, Andy Belmont have made stops, so has Graham Taylor. And we're down to it. 16 laps will go on the board this time. Brett Bodine on the point. He has led in 5 of the last 7 races this season. He'll pick up 5 bonus points for leading these first 16 laps officially.
We talked earlier about how we heard the caution in their voice that they weren't going to really run the car hard at the start of the race. We heard that even in qualifying. The guys didn't want to really kamikaze the cars around.
We may get a take 1 this time. Lights went back on the safety car. And now it is a take 1. See that light at the bottom of the screen on the roof of the safety car? That should now go out, and we'll get green next time by.
Sometimes they turn it off halfway down the back straightaway. If that light is ever on the roof of that car, they will not go green. So you'll have to turn it off halfway down if we're going to take it green.
It's off now.
There's the rest of the field played out, 40 cars. And here is Mark Martin starting on the outside pole as Dale Jarrett makes a pit stop. Mark Martin running the car up through the rev range. There's Brett Bodine to his left. Now explain what they're doing here. I mean, there's one theory is they're getting heat in the tires. One theory is they're going to scrub the tires. Just exactly what happens there.
Oh boy, I just looking at that 26 car with that green paint job on. I said, please don't scuff your tires like that guy did in Indy last week.
Roberto Guerrero on the pace level. What a shame that was.
I think it also puts heat in, but when you're riding around slow, when they were dragging the tires earlier, it puts trash on there, the rubber off the truck tires, and these tires pick them up. They're just cleaning the debris off the tires so they'll be clean for the start.
And that's what we'll get this time as the field is in turn 3. Brett Bodine and Mark Martin on the front row. The Waltrip brothers in row 2.
I think we'll see the biggest shuffle to the inside lane we've ever seen. Everybody trying to get on the inside.
Coming up slow out of turn 4, and now at full throttle through the gears. And a very appreciative crowd here sees this race get the green. Brett Bodine jumps out with the lead, and Mark Martin drops right in second spot. Davey Allison and Earnhardt mired in midfield. Double file down the back straightaway. This field is not going to string out all that quickly. Up front, 4 or 5 cars now, single file trying to break out. And here comes Martin to the inside. He will lead this lap. Darrell Waltrip trying to follow Mark up through and does so. In fact, both Waltrips overhaul Brett Bodine. Back straightaway.
Neil, you see how fast they're getting single file? Nobody wants to jump out wide.
That outside lane, is that being cautious?
I would say so. That's Brett's wife.
Whoops. Morgan Shepherd down on the inside.
And Jeff Bodine going back a spot or 2.
That's a good example of being on the outside. He lost 2 spots in one corner.
Up front, there's Mark Martin with Darrell Waltrip. And there at the tail end of that picture, there is Alan Kulwicki trying to move up. Remember, he started back in 37th position. He was 30th this last time by as he works underneath Rick Mast. and trails now Wally Dallenbach into the corner.
He's got to be extra cautious. Just a simple matter of losing 2 race cars, not necessarily how fast he can run here, but he's got to get out of this race in one piece of that car. He's hurting for race cars.
Graham Taylor has gone to the garage after 18 laps. Here's Dale Earnhardt trying to work his way up. He is 25th last time by after starting 24th, trailing Greg Sachs.
Seems like no one wants to look to the outside. Usually on a place like this, you drive that thing right on the outside of, but nobody's going to get out there.
I think Dale's doing just what he told us he would. He's being cautious and just going to ride this out for a while.
Well, look at the entire field, like Buddy's talking about. No shuffling around. Only guys that are passing it gets a real clean shot, or if somebody moves over, then 3 or 4 of them go by him. It's going to take a while before these guys can get where they can work this track like it needs to.
Even Davey Allison started 21st, running 20th, just kind of holding their own at this point. Jerry O'Neill has been on pit road, so has DK Ulrich. Mark Martin up front, 23 laps complete. The last 7 under green. Darrell Waltrip right with him.
Mark Martin sure felt this wall this week. He had his Busch car here, and going in 3rd turn, he knocked the wall down and totaled his Busch car and then sent it home.
There's Mike Waltrip, tail end of that picture. He had been 3rd. Brett Bodine has gone past him. So is Morgan Shepherd and Ernie Irvin. That's the race for 3rd right now. Jeff Bodine's gone past Mike. So he's slipped back a bit. Good run for 3rd here. And it looks like now single file they're gaining a little ground on that front 2.
Yeah, they're going to get a little bit braver as the laps go by. They'll get a little bit better feel of the car, a little better feel of the track. And it's just going to take somebody venturing over and stepping over on that thin ice and just seeing what it feels like.
Bill Elliott started 8th. He slipped to 15th. They're tiptoeing around this speedway right now.
On these radial tires, the real critical part's over with. They got some heat in the tires, and they hang to the racetrack a lot better now than they would the first couple of laps.
Andy Belmont in and out of the pits on a black flag from NASCAR. Here's Darrell making a run at Mark Martin down the inside.
No wonder he was sitting in that truck grinning before the race started. He felt like he was in good shape, and it looks like he is.
He's got a strong working race car.
You know, I talked to Darrell's crew chief the other day, and he said they're not worried about points or anything else now. They just want to lead some races and be up front.
Caution is coming on the speedway. There is a light rain falling on the back straightaway, so we are under caution. You see it on the lens of the camera. Mark Martin, the leader. Darrell Waltrip in 2nd. Morgan Shepherd, Brett Bodine, Ernie Irvin. The front 5, and the finger pointing at the sky from Flagman Doyle Ford. The yellow is for the rain once again. Steve from New Mexico called in, wondered if NASCAR had a maximum time delay to run the races due to rain. NASCAR will start the race and run the race as long as there's a chance of getting it in that day, which here would mean about 3:30, 4 o'clock. But now that they have started the race, they'll run as much of it as they possibly can, try to get this entire 500 miles in. Look at the front 5 as we'll take this pause from Dover Downs, Delaware. Here's the rest of the top 10.
This season, Bill Elliott's doing something he's never done before. He's driving the 670 horsepower Budweiser Thunderbird. But only after Junior says it's okay.
Richard Petty, the only driver ever to win 200 Winston Cup races, all on champion spark plugs.
Jerry, your help out here really does make a difference in the way I run.
Well, Richard, this is our testing ground. It makes a difference in the way we build our spark plugs, too.
They work for me in both my cars. Whether I'm racing or going home, I depend on champion spark plugs.
See Richard Petty race in the Champion Spark Plug 500 on June 14th at Pocono Raceway.
You know that ultraviolet rays can damage your skin, but did you know that UV rays also crack and fade your car's vinyl, leather, rubber, and plastics? Introducing Rand's UV99. UV99 is a sunblock for your car's vinyl top, dash, seats, and tires. UV99 blocks over 99% of those damaging UV rays. Armor All? Just 18%? Not even close. New UV99. It's sunblock for your car.
Pocono Raceway. It's a little bit of Dixie and the beautiful Pocono Mountains of Pennsylvania. I'm Richard Petty. Why just watch racing on TV when you can be there? Join me and all the stars of Daytona at Pocono twice this year.
June 14th, it's the Champion Spark Plug 500. July 19th, it's the Miller Genuine Draft 500. For the best seats, order now. Call and become eligible to win a trip for two to Charlotte in October. Call 1-800-RACEWAY. Operator standing by. For Pocono vacation information, call 1-800-POCONOS.
We're back to Dover Downs, Delaware, and we're under caution for a light rain falling here on the speedway, especially down the back straightaway. So we'll kind of hang with it here. We're under caution with 30 laps completed. Mark Martin has led since they dropped the green flag. Brett Bodine, the pole sitter, credited with leading the laps under the green-yellow condition at the start of this event. Steve?
All right, we're in the Brett Bodine pits. Clyde Booth, the team manager. Clyde, he did the right thing at the start there, not trying. He got the points he could win and just fell back enough to stay with him.
Well, right now he says everything's good. It's just the track's damp and it's a long way to go. We got, well, probably another 4.5 or 5 hours of running here, so we just want to make sure we're going to be there at the end.
Just stay close, not get a lap down.
Yeah, you got that right.
All right, something interesting here. They have a fan, just a simple old household fan, but you'll notice where it's drying, right where that car will stop if it comes in, so it won't slide on a wet pit road. Glenn?
Okay, this is Paul Andrews, crew chief for Alan Kulwicki. Paul, as bad as this weekend has been and as bleak as today has been, things looks like they're improving for you.
Yeah, the car's running good. You know, the track is just real slick right now. You know, the Hooters Ford, we're going to try to keep it out there all day long and try to make it do a good job. Alan just, you know, just doing a real good job. We're just slow track and just real slick right now.
Is he taking it a little extra easy because this is the third race car this week?
Well, probably not extra easy, just extra easy because we're in the back and, you know, in the track is just real slick.
Well, Alan says the car feels real good so far, and obviously he has moved up to about 25th position.
Here's Kyle Petty on pit road for tires. Jimmy Means also made a stop, and so did Wally Dallenbach. And the pace car picked up the pace while Walt Dallenbach was on pit road, and that cost him.
Yeah, he ended up losing a lap. You know, they pitted. We're going to do 4 tires, just like Kyle's doing. Kyle's doing 4 tires, and the caution car is coming off turn 4. It's almost like they're not aware of the fact that the pace car is running faster. Kyle right here is on the verge of getting a lap down.
And he will beat the safety car down to the end of pit road and will stay on the lead lap. That's Andy Belmont coming out of the pits with him. We're under caution, and we'll take this pause from Dover Downs as you look at the way they're running in the top 10 after 32 laps of the Bud 500.
It is from Kodak. It delivers the highest resolution, microfine grain, superior image structure, for ultra-sharp detail. It is called Ektar. Ektar Film by Kodak. The genius is in the details. Ektar Film now comes in a new cartonless package in 25, 100, and 1,000 speeds.
And isn't it true that this auto part did, in fact, come from the defendant's car?
Objection. Prosecution is leading the witness.
Overruled. You may answer the question.
This part most definitely came from that car.
And how can you be sure?
I work for Napa Auto Parts. It's my job to be sure.
No further questions, Your Honor.
Napa people are parts experts, so they can answer any question, whatever the case may be.
All of these championship-winning drivers have one thing in common: Goodyear Racing Eagles. The race-winning technology that's found in the Goodyear Racing Eagles can also be found in the world's best-selling line of high-performance street tires, Goodyear Eagle Street Radials. The champions know, and it's why we say the best tires in the world have Goodyear written all over them.
So our lab guys wanted me to explain the advanced formula in new Rain Dance car polish. I told them, hey, forget that. Just show how easy it is to wipe off. They said no. They'd rather show how new Rain Dance lasts longer than those once-a-year polishes. Something about this special ingredient makes water beat up better longer. I said, nah, show the car. They said no, maybe the bottle. I said car. They said bottle. New Rain Dance. Hey, you can't argue with science. You'll find advanced formula Rain Dance at these fine stores.
The Nashville Network's live coverage of the Budweiser 500 is being brought to you by new Advanced Formula Rain Dance. You can't argue with science. Jimmy Hensley started 12th. He's moved up to 8th place in the Cale Yarborough car. Best career finish 5th at Martinsville in 1972, driving Judy Donlevy's Ford. There's a look at Hensley. And a little more bad luck for one competitor, Terry Labonte. In a heated discussion with NASCAR officials, their crew, as they made a pit stop, took on 4 tires, came off pit road, and then got the black flag. And that stop and go may have cost them a lap. Let's go to Glenn.
Well, this is Robin Pemberton, crew chief for Kyle Petty. Robin, you guys came in and changed 4 tires. What's Kyle saying?
Everything's fine. What the problem is, we got a piece of paper on the grill during the warm-up laps, and temperature was creeping up. You're going to be here 5 hours of racing. We hate to blow it in the first 20 laps. It was just precautionary.
Has he said anything about the condition of the racetrack thus far?
The racetrack's really in pretty good shape. You know, if it'll just clear up a little bit, you can run too wide on it if you have to, and just have to wait and see what happens.
Okay, we're all going to wait and see. Steve Evans?
Well, you know, this place is not only a monster for the drivers, but also for Glenn and I and our camera crews, because this is the total amount of space that we have to work behind the pit wall. There's a constant parade of tires and gas cans and members of the press and family and friends. You name it, it's down here. So if our response time once in a while may not be quite exactly what you're used to, it's because of what we're faced with here. I'll tell you, this is like a war zone down here.
Or the 50-meter high hurdle, Steve. 36 laps are completed. Let's go to the 800 phone lines and handle a question or two. Neil?
Mike, we had a note come in here from Ron from Minnesota about the lug nuts that are left on pit road during a tire change. They want to know, does it hurt the tires when you run over them? It doesn't really hurt the tire so much. It's when they take off spinning the rear wheels, it shoots those lug nuts out the back. No different than they would on a gravel road, and you got to be pretty good at dodging them coming out from other cars in front of you. It slings them all over pit road.
And the teams do try to get back out there in the pit and clean them up as quick as possible, too. Buddy?
Yeah, and I have a question here. Will they retire Richard Petty car number at the end of the year? I don't think so. Lee Petty's number's on Kyle Petty's car now, and I think he'll let the tradition go on. He will be the car owner, you know.
Yeah, you know, Lee Petty, of course, drove 42. Richard drove 43. Kyle had 44 for a while and now drives 42 again. I wonder if it might be a good idea just to hang number 43 up on the wall and leave it there. That's an awful tough mantle to put on whatever driver gets in that car, to carry that number and those colors and try to emulate the performance of the King. Maybe if they went to 44 or something, it might be a better deal all around.
Mike, there's a strange light in the sky. The sun just popped out. We haven't seen it in a few days, and the fans are jumping up and down. Got some sun popping out. Looks like things are going to get better here.
They were telling us, look up, look up.
There is 43. Richard Petty, a 3-time winner of this race and a 4-time winner in the fall. 7 career victories, tied with Davey Allison for the most of anyone at this racetrack. Now, 2 cars, Terry Labonte and Wally Dallenbach, both stopped under caution and lost a lap due to the increased speed of the pace car. They have each been allowed to make up that lost lap by NASCAR, so they'll both be on the lead lap when we go back to green.
Also the 94 car, Terry Labonte, they let him go by the
correct
that lap up.
And we'll be right back to Dover Downs, Delaware, as our coverage of the Budweiser 500 continues.
It doesn't really bother me when I'm racing. We just got a disc messed up, though. I've got a Tuesday morning appointment for the next 4 Tuesdays, you know, and I'm going to keep putting it off until I can hopefully try to make it after Michigan.
Monday on Celebrities Off Stage, we'll go home with Barbara Mandrell and take you inside the largest log home in the country. Then on Tuesday, Barbara becomes a bride again, and our cameras are there.
Celebrities Off Stage, Monday and Tuesday on TNN.
This is America. A grand land of wonderful places. And some wonderful folks. It's freedom to grow. and to visit anywhere we wish, from the heartland to the great shores. And all this year, TNN, the Nashville network, will explore America. Its cities, its neighborhoods, its parks, and its people. It's a memorable journey. All this year, when TNN explores America.
We're back to Dover Downs to the Budweiser 500. You heard Kenny Schrader talking about his neck injury as we went to break there. Schrader, defending champion of this event, currently posted in the 9th position. Many of our 800 phone calls have to do with, will there be a Winston Cup race at Texas? Will there be one at New Hampshire, at Milwaukee, and a whole list of other speedways up and around the country? It's a tough thing to expand a race schedule. Certainly, race teams, sponsors, everyone plans on budgeting for the number of races that they allow. But I think maybe in the not too distant future, we'll see at least one additional Winston Cup race. Maybe not for 1993, but maybe the next year. And one of those tracks that's been mentioned heavily in the rumor mill is Indianapolis as well. They've tested IROC cars. I guess they're going to test some Winston Cup cars there later this month.
Yeah, they said they're going to run them up there, and I also heard where they're making the walls a little bit bigger in Indy. As soon as the race is over, they're going to increase the size, and also they've got something looking down the road to work with them.
Well, you know, we used to run a sister track in Indianapolis, which was Ontario Motor Speedway, and the cars really got around there super.
It would be fun to run at Indy, and or New Hampshire, or Milwaukee, or there's a long list of tracks that would like a Winston Cup race. Once again, today's race includes the Gillette Halfway Challenge, sponsored by the makers of Right Guard. Driver gets $10,000 who leads the halfway lap, and one of you fans could win a Chevy Lumina. You must mail in to enter the contest. They've already sifting through those mail-in postcards right now for today's contest at the halfway, and then you can mail in now to enter the contest for next week at Sears Point, California. And hopefully today somebody will win a new Chevrolet. Most of the drivers are going to pit road. Ricky Rudd stays out on the racetrack, so does Richard Petty.
Mike, usually what brings this on is they're starting to second-guess NASCAR. It's going to be 1 or 2 laps or 3. Either that or they monitor NASCAR. NASCAR might say, hey, let's go green in about 3 laps. So they want to get in and be ready to go when it goes back green.
There are very few pit stalls vacant. Bolson and Brett Bonai. And most of these stops look like fuel only. No tires on Hut Strickland and also on the Mellon car.
That was an easy 5 points for Ricky Rudd to pick up, too, when he come by here. He's the only car that didn't come down pit road.
You know, I'm not sure, buddy, if he beat Mark Martin to the line, however. Martin was in the pit lane, but he may have crossed the line first. Certainly this time by, if Ricky stays out, you're right. It'll be the easiest 5 points he ever got.
You're right.
That's the old Dave Marcus trick. He did it better than anybody as we look at Mark Martin driving along here, coming back up on the racetrack after that stop. We apologize for having a little trouble there.
He's moving. That's the key for his microphone. That's the microphone key that you mash and talk to the pits. And see how he's got it wrapped around the steering column. It's a stretch cord like on your telephone, and he's just getting a little bit more room. Probably when he turned the steering wheel real sharp, it was tight because of running out of line. He just readjusted that.
You saw James Hilton there. Had a little trouble getting out of the pits, or wanted to make sure he got a sponsor on television. Almost came to a halt down there. I said that's the old Dave Marcus trick. Dave was probably the best at staying out on the track when everybody else would pit under caution, and that would move him up at the end of the year several spots in the Winston Cup standings every season. A spin by Chad Little driving the Harry Mellon car.
Yeah, turned the car around off of turn 2. It looked like he looped it coming out of the pits up on the racetrack. The apron is real wet. He probably lost control going up on there and spun it around. He's coming back around now.
So Little coming up to speed. Remember, these tires are slick all the way across their surface except for the wear dot indicators. There as the car goes to the garage, you see still standing water at the end of that pit lane, so where the drivers have to accelerate to get back up to turn 1, it is still quite wet down there, so they have to be a little careful until they get the water off those tires and can get some adhesion to the racetrack. Ricky Rudd and Richard Petty's number is up on the leaderboard. One reason these fans are standing. Glenn Jarrett.
The guys that were standing in Rusty Wallace's pit when he came in, they made a 4-tire change, but they also adjusted the wedge on the car. I asked Eddie Dickerson if the car was too loose, and he said no, it was way too tight. They took 2 rounds of wedge out of the car. So evidently they are getting some bite in the racetrack now because Rusty Wallace had a tight race car.
Look at Rusty Wallace in the Penske South car, Miller Genuine Draft Pontiac. And Rusty, let's see, after that round of stops, I'll have to double check for you, get his position here in a moment. Here he is, 30th place. 30th place, well back. 1 to go, and we'll be racing. There, a look back at the pack. There's Earnhardt, Allison, and Kulwicki getting set to go at it. They are 23rd, 4th, and 5th, so still a long way to go. Clamber their way up in the back. I mentioned that Alan Kulwicki, in response to Pauline's question from New Mexico, was not injured in either of those two cars crashes in practice. How'd he get 3 race cars to Dover? He brought 2 on the tractor trailer with him when he came up this week, and after he crashed the second one, called home to North Carolina, and the crew that was left at the shop loaded up another car, and somebody drove through the night to bring it here. So he's on the Atlanta car, 3rd car of the weekend. Kevin wants to know, does NASCAR have a backup pace car? You betcha.
They're probably fueling her up right now. Elmo's going to wear the tires out on this one and run out of gas as much as he's running.
What would happen to this crowd if Richard Petty could wrest the lead from Ricky Rudd? Remember, Petty's 199th career victory came right here. Green flag.
The reason these 2 cars did not stop, track position is essential here. They're going to have a really good run now for a while.
Add Greg Sachs in 3rd place and Dale Jarrett in 4th to that list of cars who did not stop. Then Bobby Hamilton in the 68 car. Kyle Petty stopped earlier, so did not come in on this caution. Same with Wally Dallenbach and Derek Cope. Here comes Kyle up on the bottom underneath Hamilton and makes the pass. 5th place.
That was a muscle move. When you pull out here and pass somebody down the straightaway, you're really going down the straightaway quite fast.
Richard Petty, 200 career wins, 7 here at Dover. A long day of racing, but here is Richard, 2 car lengths from the lead.
Not one person sitting down right now. They're pulling for Richard to get in the lead. And so are we.
And here's son Kyle trying to work underneath Dale Jarrett. Bobby Hamilton right there.
Kyle always has a car that runs on his 1-mile racetrack. He just about dominates Rockingham every time we go there. And it's kind of a sister track to this thing right here. And his car works good at this track also.
Davey Allison moving up and Alan Kulwicki. Dale Earnhardt right with them. Working underneath Darrell Waltrip, and that pack of 3 cars is now up to about 19th position.
We saw Darrell right in the lead a while ago. He opted to take tires on that pit stop, and it's really got him back in traffic now.
Sterling Marlin in the blue car underneath. There's Harry Gant. Here's something you don't often see. Harry Gant at Dover on the bottom of the racetrack.
When it's so bad that Harry won't get on top, nobody's going to get up there for a while.
We got a bit of breakup from our in-car camera. Will explain that the ceiling, the cloud ceiling here is so low, the helicopter that relays the signal from the in-car can't get up high enough to really get a good clear picture. We'll show you what we can, because we know that even with a little video breakup, better than not having that in-car at all.
I'm just looking here. Anybody gets on the outside, it's just the end of them. Watch when they go in the corner, they just keep dropping back.
Dale Earnhardt team. Their man move up. Looks a little like Martinsville. If you're not on the bottom, you're not anywhere here.
Yeah, but just like Martinsville, hopefully later in the race at Martinsville, you can work the outside a little bit, and maybe just it's going to take some green laps like these guys were talking about to cut this track in. That outside might get where it's usable.
Richard Petty got caught on the outside a while ago, and Greg Sachs moved in the 2nd, and now Kyle's passing him.
Good battle for 2nd spot. There goes Kyle. Makes the pass work at turn 1. And we may see a Petty here in the lead before too long. But it may not be Richard.
Rudd jumped out to a big lead, but Kyle might be able to run him down in a few laps.
Ricky Rudd scrambling off from this pack. That was Andy Belmont's slow car coming out of the pit you saw on the frame briefly. Kyle Petty in 2nd, Greg Sachs in 3rd. There Bobby Hamilton had a run inside at Dale Jarrett. A 1.8-second lead for Ricky Rudd. Biggest of the day. Brett Bodine and Morgan Shepherd hanging with the lead pack. And Mark Martin, the outside pole sitter in the 6th car, coming up on Hamilton. A little further back, Allison, Gant, Irvin, and Walton. That's at about 18th position.
This reminds me of Talladega. When you get out of line in the draft, you go to the rear. When you get up on the high side here, you go back just like you're in the draft there.
Irvin pulls up another couple of feet on Harry. Everybody running right around the bottom of the racetrack. Earnhardt looking low on Derek Cope as they track Ken Schrader off into the corner. And Richard Petty hauling the rest of the field around. Richard in 4th place.
Look at Mark Martin. He just pulled up on Dale Jarrett and just drove right on by.
There's Jarrett and Terry Labonte right up there with him. And Labonte is on the lead lap.
Neil, that's what we call handling down the straightaway. Do you see it?
Yeah, you get the nose up under, mash that gas, and it jumps down that straightaway. It sure makes it easy.
Once again, Labonte went a lap down when the pace car picked up speed to keep heat in the racetrack. He and Wally Dolleback were allowed to make that lap back up. So they're still on the lead lap. Mark Martin trailing Richard Petty now. 4th place at stake here. There's Petty's crew. Lapping James Hilton. Terry Labonte, Mike Waltrip, Brett Bodine tucked right in, and Morgan Shepherd.
There was Brett Bodine going around a slow car on the outside, and they don't even want to do that right now. They're just having to tiptoe around these slow cars because they can't afford to get up there. But that's what's going to cut the track in. You're not going to tell these drivers, hey, just move out there. But when they start this lapping, it's going to make them get up there, and in turn, they're going to track a little bit better as the day goes on.
Interesting running order here. None of the top 5 point men are in the top 15 positions right now. They're all trying to work their way up through.
That could be some of that cautious. They got a lot to lose. You're talking about a long race here, and they can't afford to fall out this race early because of an accident.
Every driver's meeting, Dick Beatty tells them, gentlemen, you can't win this race in the first lap. Today they might have listened.
Yeah, if they looked around the garage and saw the junk sitting around all week, they listened.
Let me tell you, after watching practice Friday, they didn't need anybody to tell them to be careful.
No. Richard Petty kicked up in the groove as Brett Bodine got underneath him. And here comes the freight train. Morgan Shepherd, Sterling Marlin, and Bobby Hamilton. Jeff Bodine.
And Richard doesn't have but one choice, and that's the lift early, getting in that corner, because you just can't carry the speed with you through that corner on the outside.
Jerry O'Neill's made a stop on pit road. His action continues at lap 60. Not seeing much of Ricky Rudd because he's checked out. There he is. Best finishes 4th in 85 and 86 in this race. He's won the fall race twice. Rudd leading Kyle Petty, Greg Sachs, Mark Martin, and Terry Labonte here at Dover Downs. We'll be right back.
The little old lady from Pasadena, and everybody's saying that there's nobody meaner than the little old lady from Pasadena.
The Dodge Stealth RT Turbo, 300 horsepower, 0 to 60 in under 5 seconds. Choose from 4 Stealth models, 1 starting under $17,900.
Most of our customers come to AutoZone for low prices and for parts they can replace themselves. But many people come because we speak their language. Things like duration and lift and compression ratios, stuff like that. Because a guy who's going to rebuild an engine, he won't buy parts from just anybody. And since AutoZone stocks complete engines, we know what makes them tick inside and out. Sure, we sell our best parts at our best prices every day. But if we know something that's going to help you do the job right, you get that free.
This is the time to use Ace Paint. Hey, Ace knows what it takes to make great paint because Ace makes its own. Ace Paint, top quality in every drop, guaranteed.
Right now, Ace waterproofing sealant is just $6.49 a gallon.
Another reason Ace is the place for you.
If you don't like the looks of your car, shoot it with Son of a Gun from STP. Shoot the dash, seats, tires, and roof. Son of a Gun protecting. Man, what a difference.
Last year, Michael Andretti added something new to his car. It wasn't more engine displacement or bigger wings. It was the same Haviland Formula 3 motor oil you can buy straight off the shelf to add more life to your car with complete protection against heat stress, starting friction, and engine dirt. Now, we're not saying it was Haviland Formula 3 that gave Michael the energy to sweep the IndyCar Championship last year, but we're not saying it wasn't.
Legendary Chieftains do an Irish jig with Chet Atkins, Ricky Skaggs, and Nancy Griffin.
What makes the love grow?
Music Shop, Saturday night at 10 Eastern on TNN.
You know, he was right on Earnhardt.
67 laps complete. You're watching Ricky Rudd, the race leader, here at Dover Downs by some 2.6 seconds. Kyle Petty, Greg Sachs, Mark Martin, and Terry Labonte, the front 5. Behind them, Mike Waltrip, Morgan Shepherd, Sterling Marlin, Brett Bodine, and Bobby Hamilton having a good run in the early going here. 68 laps complete. That's your top 10, and here's your leader. Man who has 12 Winston Cup victories, 77 Rookie of the Year, and he's also won a Busch race here at Dover.
You know, that car is just doing super. And Ricky Rudd's probably one of the best slick track drivers in our division. He's really good. You notice he's not hugging the bottom quite as much as the rest of them. He's letting the car free up and really getting a run down the straightaway. He's really good on slick surface.
Rudd reminds me a bit of Dan Gurney. He's just so smooth in the race car. Works well on road courses, and today it works well here. Just out of the top 10, Dale Earnhardt has moved up to 11th spot. A lot of folks, we've got several questions on the 800 line. Why do you show Earnhardt a lot when he's running in the back? Well, it's usually because he's coming to the front. And that's pretty exciting to watch. Here he comes on Bobby Hamilton, trying to move into the top 10.
You know, people always said, why don't you show the action? Well, sometimes that's where the action is if someone comes through the traffic, and he's probably one of the best at working thick traffic.
He's in a 10th place. Tell you who else is flying is Greg Sachs up there in 3rd place behind Kyle Petty.
Yeah, he's running super good. I tell you, Harry and them getting that program together. They run really strong at Charlotte, and now they're flying here.
You know, you mentioned earlier, buddy, they had a real good run going at Charlotte, and right now he's putting heat on Kyle Petty. We were talking about how good Kyle Petty was running, and Greg Sachs is really working on Kyle right now.
Back in 10th place and 11th. Now we're going to kick back in the field just a bit and find that Alan Kulwicki has not been able to scramble up through the field as Earnhardt did. He's in 26th place behind Ted Musgrave there and Jimmy Hensley. And Darrell Waltrip back there, and Richard Petty too was up in 2nd not 10 laps ago. It looks like he developed a push and has moved his way into this rearward back of cars.
You know, Mike, I thought he was pushing too, but they're beating him pretty bad up off the corner. I think he could use a little more cubic inches or a little more horsepower. He's not running down the straightaway.
And Kulwicki with a car they have not practiced with, trying to get something going here. 14th and 15th place, Davey Allison and Ernie Irvin. Up front, Ricky Rudd about to put a lap on Rick Mast, and back behind him, good stout battle for 2nd spot. There's Rudd going off into turn number 1, has a sizable lead. Call it a quarter of a lap as he gets underneath Rick Mast's car. 4.2 seconds is the lead for Rudd. Here is the 2nd place battle, and Greg Sachs has gone into 2nd. He's lapping this track at 141.7 miles per hour, 25.40. Last lap on Greg Sachs.
We were just talking about how good his car is running, and he got the nose up under Kyle off 4th turn and just beat him down the front straightaway.
Well, he's going to have somebody to join him here in just a second. That 6 car has come from back in the pack, and he's running them down pretty fast.
Valvoline Ford, Mark Martin driving for Jack Roush. A lot of rumors surrounding this team in the last few weeks as the rumor mill is full crank at this point in the season, but Jack Roush said emphatically last week, a Charlotte TV station had Mark out of the car. Jack said no way. He says our deal is firm through 93. It's definitely firm through this season. There's an option year there, and Mark's trying to get something going here on Kyle Petty.
Buddy, I think there's Mark turning down under Kyle up off turn 2.
Look at that car handle down that straightaway.
You beat him that bad in the straightaway, you don't have to worry too much about getting through the corner, do you?
Well, I'm going to tell you, Kyle Petty, I know he's got a good motor, and that car drive by him like that. That's trouble for the leader pretty soon.
77 laps complete. Ricky Rudd has the front spot. This battle for 3rd place.
But I think where the keys will go, when you mentioned that we watched the leader, and Ricky Rudd, how he was swinging up off the corner, he doesn't have everybody race with him, so he doesn't have to protect that inside line so much. When you got somebody around your back bumper and you pinch your car down, pinch it down, worried about one car getting by or possibly 2 or 3, well, Rudd's able to use the entire track out front, and where we just watch these guys really battling for position.
You're back at 9th place, Brett Bodine, and Dale Earnhardt has caught Bodine, the 9th place car, and pole sitter for this race. That's interesting. Chevrolets have the front 2 spots, Ford in 3rd, Pontiac 4th and 5th.
You notice Earnhardt then, he's swinging wide in the center part of the corner and kind of dirt tracking it up off the corner. See where he is there? He just slings that back out, and only Earnhardt would try that on slick track.
What they got to be careful of, that little bit they're slinging out will be very slippery. Just like if one car takes that option right there and starts running a little bit higher, well, he'll actually cut him a groove. Then the next guy will move up there, and then it'll be like teamwork. They'll start, every one of them kind of like a bunch of ants hauling something along. These guys are going to have to just gradually pick away at that track and get it more usable.
Davey Allison running behind Bill Elliott now, with Ernie Irvin and Harry Gant in tow.
High-speed ants, aren't they?
Yeah.
Coming around there pretty quick.
That's back in 12th position on back. Make it 13th position on back. Now you ride with Davey Allison.
You know, that looks so smooth. If you were in that car, you wouldn't believe how hard he's working. You can't even see his hand there. He's just working that hand all the way through that corner. Pretty smooth, though.
That riding on the dashboard is a high to some folks watching from home. It's like Jimmy, Michael, and Matt. Front straightaway.
He's moved up to 12th place. He was way back on that restart. He's gradually working his way back.
See, even the straightaway is banked here. That shot shows him pretty well.
Neil, that shows the two cars are pretty even, too. There wasn't any gain all the way through that lap that we watched them run there.
Like that banking you're talking about on the straightaway. The straightaways here are banked probably more than 2/3 of the racetrack we race on. A lot of the little flat track stuff we go to in the half miles and all, but the straightaway here, you just can't tell you ever get off of. You get off the bank, it just rolls up and stays there. Somebody nipping away at the back of Davey.
9-degree banking in the straightaway, 24 in the corners.
There's Ernie Irvin trying to get up under Davey, and then see, it gets you protected. You can't go out as wide as you want to make that good exit off the corner. And then when he starts pinching it down, it enables Bill to get away a little bit. If you open that door, they'll stick their foot in there, and you got to protect that inside.
That 4-car's handling so good, he run the left front off on the flat there,
When you don't have any more room to work with, you got to use what's available, and that's the only thing that's left is a flat.
Boy, that decambers the front and the rear. You do that.
There was old Harry trying his line. He moved out there a whole car length. The first time all day we've seen a car out of line, and Harry's going to venture out there and try it.
Well, you could have bet money that if anybody was going to go upstairs and see if it worked, it would be Harry Gant.
Now, on the other end of the racetrack, he moved up a little bit higher. We'll see if he does it this lap. There's the 4-car on the inside. This might make Harry move to the inside, because if he gets under him, he should be able to go by Davey at the same time the 4-car does.
14th place at stake here. Here comes Harry Gant. Up and underneath. Just ahead of that pack, Terry Labonte. And we asked Labonte what's been the key to his consistency in 1992.
You know, I think we raced probably 6 different cars already this year, and all of them have been pretty good. So we're trying to get things figured out a little bit, and trying to figure out which cars we want to come back with the second time around at these racetracks. And we're building a new one or 2 new ones, and you know, try to get a little bit better. But we're off to a good start.
Mark and my relationship goes way past business. I'm sure in a previous life he and I were twin brothers. Throughout the race, the driver and crew chief communicate. The driver complains about the car or brags about the car. It's the crew chief's job on pit stops to make whatever fixes he can to help the driver's predicament. Everyone has about the same access to equipment and technology, but the people who rub on it the most and think the most of it and think about it the most will end up winning the race.
When doctors were asked which of these 2 pain relief formulas they preferred, number 1, they chose the Goodies formula by more than 3-to-1 over BC's, which just might be the reason
Goodies!
so many people in the South,
Why, Goodies, of course.
prefer Goodies too. Because Goodies has the formula most doctors preferred, and BC doesn't. Try Goodies headache powders or extra strength tablets.
Just a reminder, proper maintenance with AC Delco parts can significantly reduce premature wrinkles. AC Delco, It's like buying time.
Here's the way they're running. 91 laps into the Budweiser 500. Ricky Rudd up front. Greg Sacks, though, has cut his advantage now to 3 seconds. Rest of the top 10. We started under showers in a green-yellow condition. Now we're full green, and this man has the point. Ricky Rudd's first career Winston Cup win on a super speedway came right here at Dover in 1986, driving for Bud Moore. And his crew appears to be ready on pit road to give him fuel and 2 tires. They've run 92 miles, much of it under caution.
You know, Ricky's able to run high or low. That's the reason he's moving on like he is. When he catches a car, it doesn't really matter if they can hug the bottom. He goes by him on the outside. He's getting around here.
Trailing Dale Jarrett right now, going to put Dale a lap down. Meanwhile, Greg Sacks is one of the quickest cars on this racetrack. And as Rudd has a little trouble in traffic, Greg Sacks is able to close in. 3.4 seconds now, the interval from Rudd back to Sacks. Trying the inside.
Trying to put Dale Jarrett down a lap. Dale might have to run that outside line if he wants to try to protect that, but he couldn't do it. Right on by him. Well, they didn't stop early, Mike, like we were talking about, when those other guys stopped, so they're out of sync on their pit stops, and they're going to have to be coming in before long.
So Rudd, who did not stop earlier under the caution that brought most of the field to pit road, nor did Greg Sacks. Alan Kulwicki now only 2 seconds from going a lap down.
Well, that could be rough on them, too. If they have to make a green flag stop and the other guys stay out, they're going to lose a lap because of the speed limit on pit road, so that could cost you before the day's over.
Let's go to his pit, Steve Evans.
All right, guys, the Hendricks motorsport crew is ready to go to work. They are praying for a yellow here. They can't leave Ricky out too much longer than the last time to start-finish line. They only have 2 tires up on the wall, and those will obviously go on the right-hand side of the automobile. But everybody is poised down here. It's so loud, it's really hard to communicate with the crew chief to find out how long he can stay out there. But I would say it's imminent.
96 miles completed. Ricky Rudd, 12-time winner on this circuit. The man chasing him, Greg Sacks, still looking for his first top 10 finish of the year. Though he led last week at Charlotte.
Excuse me, one of the things that'll enter into this is that early 20-something laps. He counting the 15 and then the other stuff. They had about 20 under caution. These guys can usually go a little over 115 miles. So even at that, he's going to have, he's probably got 10-lap cushion to work with right now.
You think all those tires up on the pit road and everybody's signboard at the ready, you think it's a ruse?
I think they'll let the driver make the call. I think they'll tell Ricky, you watch that fuel pressure gauge, and when that thing misses, you come in. I think the crew is ready at any time. It's going to be Ricky's call when he pits.
We're looking a little further back of the field here. Harry Gant and Bill Elliott, 13th position. There's Ernie Irvin, Jeff Bodine, 11th and 12th. Brett Bodine they're pulling up on now, who is the 11th place car. Their youngest brother, Todd, is on the pole for the 200-mile Busch Grand National race that you'll see tomorrow on TNN Monday at 10 a.m. Not seeing a whole lot of side-by-side racing in the early going as everybody tries to get used to this track surface and what it's going to do.
Mike, I've been watching just every now and then somebody will venture out there. And when he does, he loses 5 or 6 positions. If he doesn't lose a position, he loses track position. He'll back up 5 car lengths behind the guy in front of him. So they keep trying it, but nobody's been able to pull it off yet.
The Bodine brothers, 2 of the 3 who cut their teeth in quarter midgets up in Chemung, New York at their dad's racetrack, moved on to modifieds, Busch cars, and then Winston Cup. Ricky Rudd drops off the banking in turn number 4 and comes down pit road.
Boy, you see him lock the brakes up in that water as he first turned on pit road.
And then comes down to the 35-mile-per-hour speed limit and now heads for his pit stall. Steve?
Ricky Rudd's crew is on full red alert. He came down, as you said, carefully maintaining that 35-mile-an-hour speed. They have left side tires ready. Let's see. We'll have to wait and see if the Jack Pastrana goes all 4. He does not want to go on down. Yes, they are doing a 4-tire change. Fuel, obviously, this is a good stop. This is a real good stop. Having a little trouble with the left front. They're having a little bit of trouble. That cost them a few ticks of the clock. Ricky Rudd is gone.
26.6 seconds for Rudd. Greg Sachs has also made a pit stop for right side tires. Richard Petty is on pit road getting 4. Sachs will also get 4 tires, and they're each going to go a lap down.
What their hope now is we see Sachs getting his tires and stuff ready to go. The 6 car has probably got about a 10 or 12 lap cushion on him, and he'll have to pit. What they got to hope for is that they don't get a caution at this time or they'll stay down.
I was just fixing to say they were praying for a caution. Now they're praying they won't have one.
That was the 6 car that just went by Rudd again, which put him 2 laps down. So that's a good indication of what it cost you to pit with that slow entry and slow exit. The 6 car is leading the race, and that's 2 laps, but he's right behind him.
Now here's Mark Martin working against his teammate Wally Dallenbach. Both of those are Jack Roush cars, and the former Trans Am champ Wally Dallenbach Jr. goes a lap down. Another ex-modified racer. Mark Martin having it his own way now as we hit lap 104. 10th in the Winston Cup points. 347 markers out of first. And Ricky Rudd is coming back to pit road.
Oh, me.
It might be, might be something an inspector saw with the car. It's hard to tell what happened. They got another set of tires up. He might have a shaker. The tires vibrating real bad. They got another set ready for him.
Steve is there.
I agree with you, Neil. I think it is a shaker. It's impossible, really, for the driver to determine which tire is bad. Apparently, Ricky's on the left-hand side. Those are the ones they changed. The lug nuts were not tight as well, so they tightened up the lug nuts. They just handled it here.
Oops.
It looked like not only were they loose, and you see the guy putting the lug nuts on, he had to put 1 extra one on. There must have been 4 on the tire and the rest of them loose.
Wow, that's terrible. The way that car was running now, he's what, 3 or 4 laps down. That's terrible.
Second place pass, Michael Waltrip going past Kyle Petty. Now on your street car, you can run that car with 4 lug nuts and probably not have a problem if you break a wheel stud or if you lose a lug nut. But on a race car, you get such G-forces in the corners, that wheel will start vibrating when there's no nut on that one lug. It'll vibrate the wheel, might vibrate the center out of the wheel or vibrate the hub apart or spindle one.
You said the whole thing. What it does, it cracks from that hole that don't have one on right up to the next one and right over, and pretty soon the center comes out.
Another thing also, Mike, those lug nuts and the studs that are on these things are about twice the size what's on a regular passenger car, and it needs every one of them. They can't do without one.
So for safety reasons, there's a NASCAR inspector in every pit to make sure every lug nut gets on tight. And if not, you come back in. Here's the race for 7th place now. Same group of cars, but they're racing for 7th in that Rudd and Sachs have made their pit stops. Brett Bodine, Jeff Bodine, Harry Gant, Ernie Irvin. And they're catching up on Terry Labonte. Dale Jarrett makes a pit stop. Andy Belmont back in with the hood up yet again. Nice evenly matched group of cars here, and here's Harry back down on the bottom once again.
Yeah, Harry's not running exactly where he likes to race here, but I tell you what, he's really working well on the bottom of the racetrack. He'll be a factor as this gets better. See how it moves up on that car in the middle?
We're 110 laps complete here at Dover Downs. Here's the way they're running. A 4-second lead for Mark Martin. We'll be right back.
All day,
Will I do till the real thing comes along?
all night,
No doubt about it, been loving all.
all music. CMT, Country Music Television. All right.
This is America. A grand land of wonderful places. And some wonderful folks. It's freedom to grow. And to visit anywhere we wish. From the heartland to the great shores. And all this year, TNN, the Nashville network, will explore America. Its cities, its neighborhoods, its parks, and its people. It's a memorable journey. All this year, when TNN explores America.
Welcome back to Dover Downs. Mark Martin with a 4-second lead over Michael Waltrip, Kyle Petty, Morgan Shepherd and Sterling Marlin. See the roof cam on that car. We're getting close to the halfway mark. Now, to enter the Gillette Halfway Challenge now, you must mail in your entry. There is the address. You must be 18 or over. And if you send in, you'll be entered for next week's contest at Sears Point. The driver leading the halfway lap today gets $10,000 from Gillette Right Car. And if you get called to know who that driver is, you could win a new Chevy Lumina. So mail in your entry now for next week's contest, and stay tuned to know who the driver is for the halfway lap. Here's a shot from out of Mark Martin's car. A little bit of mist on the windshield. And our roof cam on Mark's car fell victim to the rain, unfortunately. Mark will give you these pictures as he drafts along behind the Melling Oil Pumps car. That's Chad Little driving that car today. Bill Schmidt will drive it at Sears Point on the road course next weekend. And then Dave Mader will be back in the car a little later in the season. Mark Martin coming up to put that car a lap down. Rick Mast just ahead. Now Mast had gone a lap down to Ricky Rudd and is one down at the moment. Ken Schrader on pit road as we watch Morgan Shepherd, Sterling Marlin, and Dale Earnhardt for fourth place. Yeah, that's one reason why you follow Dale Earnhardt when he's in the back of the field, because up he comes.
He was 22nd when they sang at 24th, and on the green he's worked his way up to battling for fourth place right now.
Getting near the quarter post in this race at 125 laps. Will be a quarter down.
He's never happy still, is he? Look at him working on that car. He got him.
And Earnhardt uses that lapped car as a pick and goes past Sterling Marlin. Always something happening around that car.
Yeah, you know, Sterling had to be careful because he was on the outside of a lap car. The minute he used that little bit of caution, Dale got in between him and the lap car and took advantage of it.
Go back a little further here. Show you the race again for 8th place as they lap past Wally Dallenbach. Make that 7th place when you count Sterling Marlin, or rather Terry Labonte's car. Billy Hagan car. Up they run off the corner. Trouble.
Oh, me. Wham. Man, he hit hard.
Hard into the wall. Kyle Petty, turn 4.
Ooh.
Smacked the outside wall. Came down through the water and to the inside. A devastating smash into the wall by Kyle Petty at turn 4. You see the fluids coming down the racetrack, showing the path from where he hit. He's moving around in the car, and he looks to be okay.
Yeah, he's taking the belts loose himself, so that's a good sign.
He collided with Dave Marcus, is the indication. Look at how bent that car is. It won't sit flat on 4 corners.
And all the damage is on the side he's on.
Yeah, we haven't seen the damage.
He's out. He's out of the car. He's okay. Boy, a tense moment here as Kyle wailed the wall. He just lost his shoe in the mud there.
Yeah,
getting out of the car. Not rather. That's a pad again.
He's got those pads on there to keep from burning the heel on his foot.
Mandatory ride to the care center for a checkup. But what a wallop.
Yeah, we haven't seen the other side of the car. It really took a lick, it looked like.
This is after hitting the wall. Watch that. Here's Earnhardt. Right behind, who is it? Morgan Shepherd. Morgan is clear. Earnhardt right through the smoke and the dust to miss Kyle, who's about to meet the inside pit wall.
Boy, that was no minor lick to the inside once he came off the outside. That was a pretty good shot right on the driver's door to that inside wall.
From the in-car, or rather from the pit wall, there's the first impact.
You know, I'd like to see that. Looked like a car started to turn down the pits. I'm not so sure that car that turned in the pits might have cut across in front of him.
Maybe we could have that angle
Take
again.
a look at that again.
I believe that was Dave Marcus.
Somebody was turning in the pits, and Kyle might have came up on him real quick, but here they are doing all the pit work.
Yeah, everybody's in. Let's have another look at that angle and watch pit road on the right side of the screen.
There should be a car fixing to come into the pits here. Well, that was after that. I thought he might have came up on the car. It's hard to tell what happened. Looked like he just broke loose.
There's that car down on the apron.
Yep.
It's the blue car. That does appear to be Marcus. Although we're not seeing it far enough back into turn 3 We can't from this angle to determine what caused it.
Look on pit road here, big traffic jam. Bill Elliott can't get out of the pits. He backed up, now he's taking off again.
Ernie just hit a tire and knocked it out the pit road.
And guess who's leading this race?
And they wondered if he went fast down pit road at Charlotte. It seems like that crew right there is capable every weekend to get him in and out quicker than anyone else, just time after time.
Dale Earnhardt, Mark Martin, the front two, after 122 laps.
Did you hear what he called his crew? Bunch of old guys.
I know.
I think he just made them mad and they got going faster now.
They're a bunch of fast old guys, tell you that. Dave Marcus coming down pit road in the Max Race Cards entry. I don't see any apparent damage on Dave's car. First indication we had up here was a potential